Going
You
live.
are going live. There we go. Excellent.
We're live. We did it. We're just in the nick of time, everyone. Hello.
Fabulous.
Yep.
Oh, good. I also have levels.
Good. Yep. We
Should probably double check that.
we needed to set up the stream PC from scratch again because we installed Windows on it at the end of last week after we built it back up again. But Caradog came in this afternoon. I was just like, I want to set everything up immediately. I'm just like, all right, there's like plenty of time and everything. And he's like, no, OBS isn't configured. There are no scenes. OBS, like clean install. I'm like, oh yeah, just, yep. By all means, crack on. You know.
By all means, please ensure that we are actually configured.
Indeed. And then just as we were ready to go, it was just like, oh, we're not actually signed into YouTube on anything. We don't even have Chrome installed.
Yes.
So yeah. However, we're now present and correct. What now? Or were you just fiddling?
Well, yes. Why don't you left the others in the right channel? Yes. I realised that we hadn't done the thingy, and I can't remember what the thingy is we have to do.
So go to Advanced Audio Settings. Advanced Audio Properties and Mono, those two.
There we go.
There we go. Now we are in the centre of your minds.
Hopefully.
Yep.
Fingers crossed.
Yep.
Maybe.
Yep, that was not intentional. What would have been even worse? I didn't see which way round it was, but were we the wrong way round as well? So I was on the right hand channel despite sitting in the left of the picture, you know. That would have been terrible. Yeah. The mic sounded
professional.
Yeah. Might sound a bit muffled. Yeah, we have just set this up.
Yeah.
So
oops, that's Bluetooth devices. I know Bluetooth devices.
And it was set up in a mega hurry. We're going to tweak the setup again next week because we're going to switch from. We normally for filtering we normally use a limiter and a gain filter, but we're going to switch over to using a compressor, which theoretically should do a better job of both of those filters. However, I've never bothered using a compressor because it has lots of dials on it and I'm scared of it. However, I am actually going to sit down, well, the two of us are going to sit down and actually look at how to set up a compressor properly. And for the record, we've already looked up resources for this, so please don't...
Yes,
please don't 10,000 people DM me going, here's how to set up... I can Google, you know? So,
yeah, it isn't how to set it up, it is how our setup works with it that we need to look at.
Yeah.
The fundamental of the thing functioning is understood. It's how it functions in our ecosystem, which is what we need to comprehend, just because we don't know what our levels are. So yes.
Yep. All right. Apparently we're a bit quiet. Yeah, we look a bit quiet. Can you just bump the gain up?
I'm going to tweak it on the Windows side.
Yes, because I thought that needed to be louder.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, I think I tuned it for like 80.
I'm going to go to there.
Okay.
And then I'm going to see what OBS looks like.
Okay. So now that's at 70. That's made a little bit of a difference. We're just touching into the orange. I like to be deep into orange.
Yeah. It depends on what our crosstalk is like.
Yeah.
Because obviously as we increase the Windows level, our crosstalk effectively increases. Because we're increasing the raw microphone level, whereas with the gain, we're increasing each individual microphone's level.
Hadn't thought of that.
Is it is the crosstalk question.
Yes.
Hence,
you're right.
Me doing that and then seeing what people look at. But yes, we do.
Yeah, crank the OBS gain in that case. Yeah, whack it up to like I think I said put in +6. Put it up to like +8.
Yeah,
and that should be enough. So yeah, the gain filter.
Yeah. I was just making sure the noise suppression wasn't doing weird things as well.
Yeah, there are two noise suppression filters in OBS, and the high quality one does filter out a lot of noise, but also it's extremely aggressive and it kills ambient noise, like the clink of putting something down on the table and stuff, and just suddenly makes you very, very isolated. Which might be exactly what you want if you've got a lot of background clatter you need to cut out. But for us, where we do actually want a little bit of room atmospherics, it's way too aggressive.
There you go.
So yeah. All right. Okay, that should be something that works.
It doesn't snap! OBS, why are you the wrong size? Why do you not snap?
It's weird. Also, like, we're at 1080p, which is just 1080p is low resolution, in my opinion.
Yes.
These days, like,
also, but Bing, do not turn off. Be gone.
I would, like, no joke, I would hate Bing and Edge a lot less if Microsoft just stopped ramming it down my throat. As a product, Bing and Edge is fine. I have no objections to it. It's the way that Microsoft keep ramming it down our throats that make me go, fuck off.
It's such a shame because I actually quite like Edge.
Yeah, I don't hate Edge and I don't hate Bing. But the way that Microsoft are always, are you sure you want to switch off of Bing? And every time there's a Windows update, a new Edge shortcut appears on my desktop. And I'm like, stop it. Just stop.
Yeah, but it's not just Edge that does that. It's basically every program I use adds a new desktop icon every time it updates.
Yeah.
And I'm at the point where I'm just like, I kind of almost want a script that will literally just go, are there any things on the desktop? Delete. Every login.
I do find myself, like, now and then I will hide desktop icons. So right click on the desktop and uncheck show desktop icons, just so it just switches off all desktop icons. And I usually do that because occasionally I will use screen capture and stuff like that. Yeah. So I just go safety mode for that. However, but then once I've done that, I'll often forget that I've done it for a long period of time, and be like, my desktop is awfully clean. Oh yeah, I've got desktop icons turned off. Because I am an avid start menu user. I'm like one of the 3 people left in the world who actually gives a crap about the start menu.
Yeah, see, I just use, PowerToys Run.
Yeah, I guess, but like, the start menu does all of this. This is what kind of annoys me, is a lot of what people want from Windows. The start menu already does this, just no one uses it.
Yeah, but it's just a case of I'm just used to WinSpace and typing the thing.
Yeah.
Now I've gotten into the habit of doing that because I used to use the start menu search and only start menu search.
Yeah. Yeah, but then I guess also with that, you've got to, first things first is you've got to tell it to not show web content, just so it...
Again, I've literally never had a problem with that.
Yeah, I do, just because it slows down. I find that it introduces a delay in its response while it just pings the internet. And also, if I search for something and it doesn't find it locally, if I search for something and it doesn't find it locally, it will then show a web result, and I have to squint at that and be like, no, that's a web result, that's not local, therefore it is not on the computer, therefore I need to go and get it, kind of thing. I have to process the fact that the result I've been given isn't the one that I want. Whereas if with web content switched off, it will just say no result found, and that just instantaneously tells me that it's not what I'm looking for, kind of thing. And I don't know. Anyway, I don't even know where it is. It's in there somewhere. But then I don't use search from the start menu very often, because I pin everything to the start menu, because I use the start menu in the manner that it was intended.
But do you know what's faster than taking my hands off the keyboard and touching the mouse to click on things?
Oh, you're one of those.
It's just going enter, and it going pow. Here's Discord. You're going enter word.
I like the mouse.
Going, well, because I'm already typing. Going Windows enter.
You're like Lewis Rossman. Lewis Rossman was a or I don't know if he still is or not, because I doubt, because I'm fairly certain that the framework laptop doesn't have one. But he was a die-hard pointer mouse aficionado, because he was just like, the pointer mouse is faster because I don't need to move my keys off of the keyboard. I don't need to move down to the trackpad. And I'm just like, Lewis, please.
My accuracy with a pointer is too low to make the time differential not a because my accuracy is so low, I spend more time going around the screen.
Yeah. Apparently, we're still very quiet. Yeah.
We also now appear to be muted just because of the number of things that are in the mixer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's what I normally have scene transitions switched off, which just frees up a whole bunch of space. You drag that out so it becomes a floating window, and then you can. Oh. Stop doing things. Okay, go to view, or is it under the view menu or the docs menu? One of them. Scene transitions, or no, it's not there. Docs. The menu docs. And scene transitions. There we go. Get rid of that because we don't use transitions.
Okay.
And then you can, as I rename the mics to be like 1 mic and 2 mic or something like that, because that will shunt them to the far left of the mixer, so they're always visible, even when the other stuff gets hidden. Oh, I lie. I'm not sure. Can you drag to rearrange?
Ha!
Oh. Okay, fine. We'll sort this out another time. Either way, do you want to?
Oh, that didn't do what I wanted it to.
Do you just want to dial in another 2 decibels in the gain?
Filters. I'm also just going to turn off the noise suppression because we didn't normally used to run it.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, fair enough. Because the noise suppression does attenuate it a little bit as well, yeah. Oh, for a moment I thought you put in 100 then, and I was like, don't say anything.
They can't see us if we don't move.
Okay, right. There we go. That looks better. I just peeked into red, which looks a bit more healthy. We'll carry on tweaking this. We've just set it all up again, so it requires tweaking, so that's okay. All right. Rossman also hates the num keys on a laptop. Yeah, because it pushes the keyboard over, and again, it's just like, it's okay to have preferences, but he's really militant about his preferences. So,
see, on a 17-inch laptop, it doesn't make that much of a difference. 17-inch laptops are the correct size.
You know what? That's your opinion, and you're entitled to it. And I'm not going to be militant about telling you that you're wrong or whatever. Anyway. Okay.
Indeed. LiPo batteries and signs.
Indeed. Time to make Graham look at GitHub something or other. It's a Teltac link. Let's find out. Okay, Teltac elaborate, because this went to GitHub and I don't understand GitHub.
Oh.
This looks like a scene from CSI.
Oh.
Oh no, does it identify where stuff is on the screen? Oh no. Okay, look, it's doing fancy stuff and I'm like, okay, that looks kind of cool and hackerish. But also I'm just like, conceptually, stuff like this seems very cool, but the problem is that by the time I've adapted to having a computer that has this installed, if I'm not on that computer, I then need to switch off of using it and just like, this is the same reason why I think Dvorak and stuff is stupid. I'd rather just get really fast on QWERTY, which is what everyone uses, instead of learning to be fast on Dvorak and then having to mentally switch over to something else if I'm in front of something else. And it's just okay, whatever.
Or you just use one keyboard. Like everyone else. This is a very U category problem. Because you fix other people's devices.
Oh yeah, I guess. Yeah, this is true. Yeah, it is a me category problem because I use lots of different keyboards every day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whereas,
most people.
I use the heady heights of 2.
Yeah, and that's just because you've got one at home and one at work. Yeah, and even then, like, it would not be unreasonable for you to just buy 2 of the same keyboard, so you had the same keyboard at home and at work.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's fine. I annoy everyone by using a 40% keyboard.
Yes. Does it actually help you? Does it actually improve your life?
It doesn't harm it. And, you know, it's a keyboard. I'm not that attached to it.
Yeah. All right. I tell you what I'm attached to. Getting a cup from the kitchen so I can have a cider.
I was about to go out there and also investigate if you own a kettle. Because this coffee needs more water.
Oh, I see.
And if you have a kettle, it would be more pleasurable.
I'm amazed that you've
water.
persisted with that coffee. We butchered the round of coffees earlier on, and Caradog is just like, this is fucking awful. And I'm like, just make another one then, man. Like, we have the technology.
Yes, but it costs 4p. I've seen your YouTube stats.
Okay, look. I'm not that desperate. I might be sitting at home in the cold, refusing to turn on my heating.
Because you won't phone your energy company to replace the meter.
No. One thing at a time.
It's okay, I'll pester you hourly on Monday.
One thing at a time. Right.
Indeed.
I'm getting a cup, and I'm going. I don't know whether that that's been there for a while. Like it's a sealed bag. Fine. It'll be fine, won't it? Yeah.
It's fine. It's alcohol. To you too.
I was looking for cups.
Very well.
Right. I'm going to pour myself one. And then I will start telling you about our project. Well, I'll start telling you about our project now.
I'll start telling you about today's sponsor.
No. I have a very serious sponsor offer from Nord. Like, it's literally just waiting for me to say, yes, let's do it. And I'm like, am I going to do the Nord sponsorship? I'm talking slightly to Caradog as well, and also just to people in the chat and the Teltac. I'm just like, I'm kind of inclined just to say I'm going to just take the money and do the Nord thing. Cause,
good.
Yeah. Like, I feel like...
Good.
I feel like anyone who's savvy just won't care and will just gloss over it anyway.
Tap them up for a 4-video deal.
Yeah, okay. Sell out with me today. I can't even remember how the song goes. Sell out with me today. Sell out with me today. The VPN's gonna give me lots of money and everything's gonna be alright. The
best thing is I have no idea what he's referencing.
Real Big Fish, man. Have you never listened to Real Big Fish?
I don't know what that is.
My God. Someone help me here, you know. Someone in the chat be like, you know.
However,
there's a lot of oh no's, so...
I entirely, fully, 100% support you actually getting sponsors.
Fair enough. All right.
You should reply to those emails that will pay you money.
Yes, I will. Yep, I will. I did. The last email I sent to them was words to the effect of, cool, let's do it. Send me what... Send me all the assets and stuff. So I can put together a draft promo for you guys to okay on, because presumably they'll want me to do the thing, send it to them so they can look at it and be like, cool, we're happy with this, etc., etc. So that I figured I could at least go as far as making the draft before I actually made the decision, because at any time I can just ghost them and just not reply. So, you know. But yes.
And then you can do World of War tank ship gaming.
World of War ship, yeah. I need to bully them actually as well, because the problem is I also had a very serious offer from Wargaming, but again, both Nord and Wargaming, they want 60-second slots, and 60 seconds just feels like a really long time. And like the big channels do like 30-second spots, but like the small channels.
I'm going to be rude. You're not a big channel.
I know, but 60 seconds just feels like a long time.
Then put it in a 40-minute video.
Yeah.
Do it in a 40-minute board repair video.
Yeah.
Where you're like, this is a 40-minute video, here's a 60-second ad.
Yeah.
I have bills.
Most of the people are just going to mouse down, and like most people, myself included, are just really good at scanning for 30 seconds and then 60 seconds ahead on the...
Put a really suspicious chapter marker in there.
Yeah. Understandable. Have a nice day. Fine. Okay. I've been sufficiently enabled.
Good.
Today's video is not brought to you by NordVPN, but probably like in a week or something, one will show up. But yeah. That cider is still really good. It's the wild elder one. Oh, you have overfilled.
I dribbled. There we go.
Okay. Do you actually use NordVPN? No, I don't use a VPN. That's the other reason why I'm hesitating, because like, if I'm going to shill something, I want to shill something which is actually something that I think is useful. And I'm not going to lie, it's not something I use.
Does NordVPN have a WireGuard client?
I don't know.
So if they do, then I'd be interested in
the way that I will be pitching it, which is the way that I've seen a lot of the YouTube channels pitching it, has been Raid Shadow Legends. Yeah.
But then again, if you're getting like $1,800 for that.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. The people who will actually do Raid Shadow Legends, they'll just be like, sure thing, I'll take a 4-figure sum for that, you know. Yeah. But yeah. The way that most people are selling Nord on at the moment is using it for circumventing geolocked content and stuff like that. And another one I've seen as well is I watch Mentor Pilot. He does air crash investigation. It's a bus outside. Yeah.
Okay. It was just the fact that I leant back and it started hissing, and I was like, "There's no gas strut in this chair. What the hell's going on?"
I watch Mentor Pilot. He does air crash investigation reports and stuff like that. He'll explain how an air he goes through the investigation of a plane crash and explains blow by blow what happened, how it happened, and so on. He has done Nord spots before, and like he one of his things was pointing out how I don't you know when you're I don't know whether this is true or not. I think it is, but you know when you're looking for tickets for either airfares or hotels. Yes, that's the one. Airfares or hotels. Apparently, if you keep bouncing between sites, the cost will slowly start creeping up to make you feel like to make it feel like the longer you wait, the worse a deal you're getting.
Oh, interesting. I guess that doesn't work on me because I do 100% of my browsing in incognito.
Well, that's one of the reasons why when I'm actually booking a hotel, I do all of my searching in incognito, because I'm not sure if it's true or not. Yeah. However, also again, you know, like using a VPN allows you to make sure, and like certain things are cheap, like certain things can be more expensive if you're if you're an American and you're trying to book in a foreign country and stuff like that, and it just makes sure that that is like, I don't know whether this is accurate or not. I've just seen Nord pitch as an anti-that.
One thing I did say, real life example actually, our friend in California was trying to book a plane ticket from California back to London. For them, it was an $1,800 ticket. For me, it was a £300 ticket.
Yeah, there you go then. So that's the thing. So basically, when I do this Nord spot, I'm going to be trying to focus on VPN as a utility rather than
as a utility of actually pushing the traffic to exit in another country.
Yeah.
Therefore, what does that benefit?
Exactly.
What does that benefit you?
And I'm like, ultimately they're going, not Monaco. Yeah. Like. Obviously, like they're gonna want me to say like, oh, it improves your privacy and stuff like that. I'm going to be trying to put as much spin on that as a part of your privacy toolkit, etc., etc.
Part of your security posture.
Because ultimately it's just like a VPN doesn't make you private, you know. So I'm going to try and put focus on the utility of it, which is something which is a tangible benefit it can actually have, not this myth that using a VPN automatically makes you hidden from hackers, you know, which is just wrong for multiple reasons. So yeah.
Oh, NordVPN does have WireGuard. Nice.
What is WireGuard?
It's a VPN protocol.
Oh,
it is actually the first modern VPN protocol in a while.
Oh yeah, because I hadn't really considered what protocols VPNs use, but I just know that the standard has been around for a very long time.
It's like when Signal turned up and did forward secrecy.
Fancy cryptography
in messaging. So if you break the encryption on one message, you don't get future messages.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
And stuff like that.
Yeah.
That was the first time people had done that, and suddenly it spawned a whole bunch of end-to-end encryption messengers and things like that.
Yeah.
WireGuard kind of did the same thing, and it kicked a lot of the VPN profiles up the arse and made them update stuff and stop using stuff that was 25 years old and didn't play well with gigabit connections.
Yes.
Because like OpenVPN is fine when you're talking about a 256 kilobit connection. You can't tell a difference because the connection's so slow. But when you're on a gigabit connection,
the overheads
you can really tell.
Yeah.
Because the gigabit connection is a gigabit connection, but then the data through VPN is like 400 megabit.
Yeah.
And 400 megabit is still fast, but it's not gigabit.
Yeah, it's
and
not.
Stuff like
it
that.
Doesn't actually scale to your connection. Yeah.
So it was little bits like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, WireGuard is just IPsec client, isn't it? Is it? You'd be the one who knows that, Teltac.
Yeah.
You'd be the one who knows.
Yeah. Yeah, but at any rate, yeah. So that's the thing. Is just like if I'm gonna shill, I'm gonna try and at least put the focus on the stuff that I think is useful. So yeah.
Yeah, it's also a case of, at least from my perspective, I think looking at Tom Scott's 2 or 3 VPN ad spots.
Oh yeah, he's done stuff in Nord, hasn't he?
It's a good style to do it in.
Yeah, I should review those as well because Tom Scott, you know, the dude knows what he's talking about, and he has done when he has done Nord spots. I seem to remember that he has he's done a Nord sponsorship where he's just like, I'm fully aware that I've made a video about why VPNs are not the be-all and end-all kind of thing, and then he's gone on to make a point, and I need to go and rewatch that bit to see what his point was, just so I can see what his takeaway there was and lean into that same angle. You know?
I also thought it was really funny when he went to see the company that did like the prosthetic face and stuff, and he said, I'm not doing a VPN ad, but that is. And then the camera pans to full animatronic face of Tom Scott, Tom Scott's voice and all of that, doing an ad read for a VPN. And it was like,
yeah. Can't cope with the soul-crushing effects of trying to shill, be contrived. Yeah, big same. Like, this is one of the reasons why it's taking me so long to actually do sponsorships, because it's, you know, it is tough, you know, it is figuring it out, but also at the moment, like, I'm not going to lean into it heavily. I've been talking about this in the exclusive chat room on the Discord recently as well, where, you know, I wouldn't be wanting to do a sponsor spot on every single video, but as like, if we take a very top level view, the channel is currently about £500 down a month in revenue from where I want it to be. And so doing just one of those sponsor spots a month would make up that shortfall. And suddenly that fixes the current YouTube concern. And then if I did 2 a month, that fixes the current that fixes the current shortfall, and it also helps me pay off a credit card that has been slowly mounting up over this year because of the shortfall. So that's the thing, is I would only need to do like a sponsor every other video or something. I wouldn't, and you know, like, it wouldn't have to be okay, I'm shilling at every available opportunity, etc. Because I don't really want to lean into that more than I have to. But at the same token, it is a matter of like doing this job doesn't make you rich. And unfortunately, there are certain ways where if I want to make any meaningful amount of money, I'm going to have to do a little bit of selling out. That's just the way this business works.
Yeah. The other thing
I'm just going to try and be classy about it first.
Yeah, the other thing I'd do is see what you can do to make use of this show as well.
Yeah, I don't know.
I realised there wouldn't be necessarily in the same way kind of financial amounts that are remotely similar, but just kind of a case of, are there any products you can get that would be useful products to get? Is there a case of, well, we'll give you a tenth of the normal rate if you look at it, and then if you also stuck it in the main video, we'd give you the remainder of the money kind of thing, and just kind of stuff like that, just to make use of the podcast as well.
Yeah, we had a conversation a while back where we came up with the idea that, because I do get offers for a lot of stuff which I'm just like, I can't be asked to review this, I think this is off-brand or not relevant and stuff like that.
That's kind of the point of this.
Yeah, exactly. We had this idea where I would just reply to almost to everything that wasn't just completely random, because I get offers to review hair products, like hair care products. I don't even mean a razor. I mean just like hair straighteners, and I'm like,
yes,
so I wouldn't say yes to everything.
I have the straightest goatee.
Oh no. I mean, maybe that would work as a meme, sure, but. The theory is that I would just turn around to all these people and say, by all means, send me one. I'll review it on my podcast on my second channel, and if it's something we really like, it'll get a mainline video. Yeah. The mainline video is not guaranteed. You won't get one unless it's on brand and I like it. Yeah.
Basically.
So yeah. Cider promoter. I doubt it. I mean, I get. I can't imagine.
The question also could becomes, just because obviously we'd have to pay attention to what the alcohol advertising rules are and so on. And
like we're drinking alcohol on stream and stuff, but we're not selling any alcohol or promoting any.
I guess we'd have to mark the channel as like mature or something like that if we started doing that. Yeah,
which should be fine. Like it would damage the search results for it, but like no one is fine. No one is organically discovering the podcast anyway. Yeah. Everyone who is here via the main channel. So discoverability isn't something I particularly care about. Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, but yeah, so that was the other idea for using this channel, is just accepting more products and just doing them here and just looking at stuff. So yeah. Is revenue down because of channel description selection? Setting it to education. I'll have a look at that. I think I'm just set on science and technology. Does setting it specifically to education improve things a lot then? Because that's kind of interesting, because that would impact algorithmic results, I suppose. But yeah, don't know. I'm still not sure whether I'm being hit by invalid traffic or not, because I've got the downturn of the channel has all the hallmarks of the invalid traffic issue, but in some of the more recent tests where people have been looking at their analytics and going, look at these two lines diverging, that's the problem. I don't have that same pattern in my analytics, which makes me not sure that it is invalid traffic. But at the same time, I seem to have the same symptoms as everyone else in the same time frame. So, but yeah.
I was going to say something and I can't remember what I was going to say.
Education videos earn lots more. Interesting. I'll have a look. So, like, I think I'm under science and technology, which is just a very innocuous channel. I'm not under entertainment anyway. I could understand that entertainment would be a probably a less preferable category, but yeah, I'll check that. We'll see if it does anything. So yeah, I'm only 8 miles from James May's pub. I didn't know James May had a pub, or that it was only 8 miles away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very well.
I mean, I told you the story about Tesco.
Oh, that you saw him in Tesco, yeah. Oh, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, that probably explains it then, yeah. Very well.
It was one of those moments where I was just like, oh!
It's the man. Yeah.
I was just like, oh! Ignore.
Yeah.
Actively ignore.
Yep, be cool. Yep.
Your day will be made worse by my interaction.
Yep. I would love to acknowledge and be like, you're a chap that I know, but there is no interaction we can have that will not be some kind of annoyance to you.
Yeah.
You know, there can be no two-way gain from this interaction.
Yes.
You know?
If you started an interaction, you know, or you dropped something, I picked up and went hi, and then went oh hi, and then end interaction. That's fine to me.
At worst, if we happen to catch eyes for some reason or other because we just walk directly toward each other, I'd probably be like, and walk on, you know, just literally just thumbs up, walk on by.
Yeah.
Just because that's literally just I think you're cool.
Yeah.
That's it. That, you know, doesn't need to be any more than that.
Yes.
I'm gonna start doing stuff because we're 23 minutes past the hour.
Yes.
Chat, you failed me. I'm blaming this on you. So yeah. What else is occurring there? Good deals on AliExpress.
7500F for £118. 7500F for £118. Was that off of AliExpress, Mike? Or do you say off of Amazon?
Yeah.
Because I read both.
This is 7th gen Intel CPUs though. Who cares?
No. The socket AM5 AMD 7500F.
I didn't know AMD had an F SKU. What's the F SKU?
It is the one that doesn't have integrated graphics.
Oh, odd. Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. Fair enough then. Yeah, I thought you were talking about. I apologize. I thought you were talking about an i5 7500 and an i7 7700 for three-figure sums. I'm just like, Mike, that's not a good deal, you know. But yeah. Caradog is AliExpressing now and he's making ooh noises.
That's not bad. 125 quid.
Mm.
Yeah. Interesting. I'll have to actually have a look at that.
Have a rummage.
Just because if that is the case, that actually makes building AM5 reasonably viable.
Yeah.
If someone asks for it.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, I've got to get these sold, and then I was going to build AM5 anyway. Or at least one AM5 machine.
Yeah. Interesting. I'll have a ganders.
Very good.
Yes.
Cool. Right. Right. Caradog, bench cam, if you would.
Ta-da!
Bench cam. This.
You also have a nice slow transition.
That's the default.
Fade.
Yeah, that's the default. We always have that.
Which is nice.
It's not new.
It is. Because it wasn't doing it before.
Then it had been disabled. It was supposed to be doing it.
It was reasonably smashy.
Smash cuts are funny. This is an LED sign.
Yes.
These signs were printed and assembled and sent in by Nikolai a while back, and I was like, they're really cool. Here's one that's turned on and doing the rugabuzz. Anyway, they're USB powered, and I think one of the things that we said as soon as they arrived was that would be cool if it had a battery in it, so it didn't need to be plugged in all the time. Because the blue one I have sitting at home, and I have it in the background of my Twitch streams, but I don't always have it turned on because I've got to actually remember to plug it in. And like you can dial in timers to it and stuff like that, but I don't want to do that. I tell you what I've just thought about. We'll solve that bridge when we get there. So what I thought we'd do is add some LiPo power to these things. So that's what we're going to be tinkering with today while we chat. Solar power bank update? Nah, solar power's crap. Doesn't make enough power. I'll just, like, the plan is just to give it some LiPo power and just plug it in now and then.
Are you going to give it an entire MacBook battery?
Well, not a whole MacBook battery. I was just going to put in one of these cells.
Okay.
But, like,
you weren't going to try and put this will last for 14 years.
So in the back of this thing, we've got what that's this is a Wemos D1 Mini that's running the show, and I need to take more out. I think this is that's just an interference fit. Hang on a sec, I'm just going to take more out. Oh, I see. There's a frame there. I love the construction of this thing. It's very cool. And then can I lift that out? Yes, I can. There we go. All right, so there's the internal construction. So we've got a bunch of LED strips that have just been wired up. So there's 2.
There's 3 sections, I believe.
Oh, that's a link across the back. Yeah, I couldn't figure out why there were 2 wires on the back. So yeah, it's one. It is one continuous chain. So one continuous chain going to there, and then up to there. Yeah, and yeah, these are treated as. I think these are treated as 3 different zones, as you say. However, yeah, so that's effectively just an LED strip that's been chopped up there, and that's just being driven directly off of the D1 Mini. So the D1 Mini controller in there, I'll give you a closer look at this in a minute. That's got 5 volt, a ground, and data pin 4. So data pin 4 is the actual drive signal for it, and then you've got 5 volt and ground. So the first thing I want to know is how much power does this thing use, so I can estimate how much battery we want to put in it for something that's actually useful. So yeah, is the board with the DW01 protection chip? So yeah, I've got here a couple of TP. I forgot the name of it. TP7050, I think they are. And yes, this is a LiPo charge board that has a DW01 chip on it to protect the cell, as well as a LiPo charge chip. So I'm going to cannibalize one of these and put it in there as well. So I'll figure out how exactly I'm going to wire that in a minute. First thing I want to know is how big a battery this actually needs to be worth using. This is kind of an academic question because this is what I'm going to use, whatever the answer is. But just
is that a new one?
No, it's one that I found lying around that just still has the peel on it. But also, this is just cheap and gross and nasty, and I'm not going to use this in. I'm not going to put this in someone's laptop. So I'm just like, sod it. I'm taking this apart.
The power used by the LEDs is set in the web interface, if you remember correctly. So you can set it to any power level you want.
Yeah.
Because also, if we're using it in here, we'll want to put the power level quite a lot higher.
Up to max, yeah.
Just because you can't actually see the blue one on camera.
Yes, yeah. It was visible before we turned on all of the front-facing lights.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, I've realised the camera's pointing an awful lot lower than normal. That is why.
Yeah.
You can see under the desk.
Oh yeah, you can slightly, yeah. Oh well. Well, at any rate, have we got the instructions for those?
They should be up there.
I think it's
here.
One of these. Yes.
Good.
Right, the
red.
Yes. We'll tinker with these. That's got private date. That's got private information on. I think that letter. So watch out for that. I think the private information is just the login for the signs actually, so it's not particularly private. What was I going to do? Oh yeah, I wanted to measure to see how much power this is using, because also then we can just see if that tallies with the actual output, because also the set power of the LEDs in the interface is probably does not take into account the power consumption of the D1 itself. So we can also factor in that, because the D1 uses about 50 milliamps as well, based on my previous experience with the D1.
Yeah, the sign is currently limited to 850 milliamp.
Yeah, that's quite a lot of current in my opinion. But then on the other hand, for the amount of LEDs that's there, that's not actually surprising. But yeah, I have familiarity with the D1 already because I use it in my my VR full body trackers, which are these guys. So this was the custom board I designed for a full body tracker, which is also using a D1 Mini. This is the other side of the board, and then those are the BNO 085 IMUs that I was fixing in that one video. So yeah, I did a custom board, which is very simple, but I like it. It's cool. I'm happy with them. Cool. All right. So I'm going to see how much power this is using. I'm going to unplug that. Plug this into here. And then I'm going to plug the sign in, and we'll see what it draws. Okay. And it is drawing See, yeah, I think that, whatever that limit is, it must be like peaks because this is only drawing 280 milliamps. So yeah. I'll test this one as well, just out of interest, because that one we know is set to higher. So what about this one?
Oh, you just turned it off.
Oh, were you trying to log into it?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought you were just being antisocial and checking your DMs or something.
No,
sorry.
I was connecting to it so we could set it to the maximum power with it connected to the power bank, so you knew that was the maximum.
We'll do that again in just a moment. Yeah, because I was just like, oh yeah, it's not using very much. You're just checking your messages. Fine. Well, I'll just carry on then. You know.
No, I'm connecting to the controller.
I'm sorry, my friend. I misjudged you. This one is also pulling about 250 milliamps. So this one is actually pulling a little bit less at the moment. So yeah. Right. I am now. Are you logging into this one?
I am connecting to this one.
Okay. I will not unplug it.
Good.
I will do nothing.
Excellent. Has that changed the pattern?
It has changed to a thing. Hang on a second. I'll kill this light. That's made a slight difference.
That should have increased the power usage, in theory.
Yeah, I haven't looked at it, but we're now at 375 average.
And that should now reduce it in a second.
No change. There we go. That has now tanked down to like 120 milliamps.
Cool. Okay.
So what if you just crank it to max then?
That is maximum on default, I believe.
What define on default?
The thing called default.
Oh, the color change.
If I set it to solid blue, that is peak power on solid blue.
Yeah. If you got solid white, because white should theoretically be the absolute max. That's all the LED. That's yeah.
Maybe. Oh, there we go.
Yeah. Although interestingly, again, that the vaporwave looking one, that like we're at 450 milliamps now. Hey Nikolai,
everything.
How's it going? Board's limited to 850 milliamps in the config. Yeah, the brightness should be defaulting to 30. Yeah, see that's the interesting thing is at the moment we're nowhere near 850 milliamps, which is kind of the curiosity that we're looking at the moment. Is that on? Yeah, that's on white at the moment, and we're at 470 milliamps. All right, we've gone higher. We're now at 585.
Cool.
So yeah, we have gotten up there, and like that is getting to the point where it's starting to compete with the background light. Like if I turn on this, it's going to drown it out, but obviously, like LEDs versus studio lights is not a fight you win. So yeah. Yeah, that's 595 milliamps. We're looking for 600 milliamps now, so it is getting higher.
Yeah. I think that is everything set to maximum, effectively.
Yeah.
Because the brightness factor is on 100, the current limit is off.
Yeah. So it looks like with the particular LEDs that are being used in this. We're not going to get past 600 milliamps draw.
Yeah.
So yeah, cool. Okay, that's good. That's yeah, that's very reasonable then. So cool. All right. So do you want to set that back to the vaporwave color at maximum brightness?
I am just about to enable the current limit.
Okay.
And the current limit I've just set to 1.995 amps. So a 2 amp supply will not get overwhelmed.
Yeah,
and
fair
that
enough.
shouldn't have changed the power usage.
No.
Yeah, good, because we were so far below it. Anyway.
Yeah, that's it. We don't physically have enough LEDs here to actually pull the maximum limit by the looks of things.
Yeah.
Oh no, I've gone into the settings on this thing. There we go. Yeah, the LEDs are limited to 35 milliamps. Yeah.
that just turn it off?
Yep, that is now off. Interestingly, the D1 was still sitting at a very cool 110 milliamps then, which is a lot higher than I expected it to be. That might just be, that's probably firmware optimization. Because when I said that, the D1 Mini can go down to like 40 or 50 milliamps, that's on the Slime VR firmware, which is heavily power optimized.
Oh. Why is that not?
That's on just a floral colour. Probably the one that...
That should be on red.
Yeah, that's the one for the red sign.
Oh,
now
there we go.
Yeah.
I don't understand, because I set the colour to red, but then I had to select colours. Also, you have to refresh the page if you want to go to the top of the page, because the scrolling doesn't work overly well, unfortunately.
I see. Very well.
Blue?
Right, we're now on to blue. Yeah.
Right, fine. So if I change that to that, that is just the default profile.
Okay, yeah.
Fine. Oh, I see, okay. That's a random cycle of colours?
Yeah, I think so. There we go.
Is that some flashing colours?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I think a couple of these don't work.
Okay. Right, that's a green bluish.
That should be green and other colours?
Yeah, there's some white in there and stuff.
Okay.
So, yeah, if you just stick it back on the original one that it was on, which was the... whatever the vaporwave
I think I broke it.
I can't believe you've done this to me.
Yeah.
Very well. If that's not actually a dialed-in preset, I won't faff. I was saying that just a sense of just put it on the one it was, just so we can move on.
Yeah, however, I can't because
that's fine, yeah.
I think I've changed that default preset.
Ah, fine. That's fine. We can just make it again. That's no issue. If it's not there, it's not there. Okay, right. So in that case, let's go with this as our preset. 430 milliamps. That's our power consumption. That's the bit that I actually care. Cool. If you turn the light off and on again, it will go back to the default scene. Oh, I think whatever you've just done, that is close to it, if not it. I'm just going to power cycle it and just see what it goes to.
Yeah, I think that's the closest I can get initially.
Yeah, it's gone back to whatever it was there. So yeah, whatever you had not actually saved as such.
Okay.
All right, and we're back down to the 260 milliamp load now. So yeah, that's still reasonably bright as well, I think. Like, again, under studio lights it's not, but again, that's not a fight you win. So yeah. Okay then, so next thing I want to know then is how much, what is the capacity of these cells, so I can get a rough idea on what kind of battery life we would actually get. These cells might have writing on the other side of them. I'm going to bust this battery open and steal a cell from it.
Did that change the power usage?
Not really, no. We're still about 260. That did. Yep, that's definitely brighter.
What's that gone? Has that gone higher than we...
Same colour, that's 470 milliamps, so yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I changed the LED preference as well for the maximum current per LED.
Yeah.
And I'm going to set that back to what it was before we...
I see, yeah. Oh, okay. So
because that should have now just reduced slightly, even though the brightness setting is the same.
Yes.
Because the current limiting per LED is lower now.
Yeah, what's the current limit per LED?
I just set it back to the default, which was 35?
Yeah, that's what Nikolai said it was on. So yeah.
And I just customed to 70 to see if that then just completely blew out the power scale or not.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem to blow it out, but it was certainly higher. So yeah, the per LED current limiting was what was actually limiting it, not the total current limit, just because of the number of LEDs.
Very well. Okay, right. This cell is 14 watt hours. So could you calculator for me, please? 14 watt hours, what's that in milliamp hours? Assuming 3.7 nominal.
Sorry, 14 watt hours?
Yes.
3,700?
3,700. Well, yeah. That's not unreasonable for a cell of that size, is it?
Because it's just 14 divided by 3.7 gives you 3.7 watt hours. Sorry, 3.7 amp hour. Yeah?
Yeah. Well, I mean, actually, yeah. Like a cell about that big, you could get 2 amp hours out of a cell of that size. So just shy of 4 amp hours out of a cell that size. Actually, that's reasonable. So yeah, that sounds plausible. That's kind of what I was after. Is the actual exact number doesn't matter. We're just trying to generalize, and that makes sense. So yeah, cool.
Oh, good. If I manage to completely break it, Nikolai can save me by sending the config again. It's okay. It's okay. We can BIOS flash them.
Oh no. Very good. Right. I'm just going to grab my multimeter and just check how hot this battery is.
Oh, look, it's at 15 volts. What?
Well, like, yeah, if the cell is sitting at like 3.2, then I don't need to be too worried because it's functionally flat. Whereas if the cell's sitting at 4.2, I'm like, okay, this battery is actually at 100%. I should probably be careful. Right, where is your other...
What is your major malfunction?
Don't do this at home, kids. Where is your other thing? There it is. Get one probe down there. Probe and probe. 1.7.
Ah, good.
So the cell is deep discharged.
Excellent.
So okay, we'll wanna put that on charge, but that also means that I don't really.
So we're in the fudge.
Yeah. That also probably explains why this battery was just kicking around the shop floor with me being like, I don't care about this because it's probably a crap battery. However, the cell's probably good. Good. All right. So let's just cut you out. Cut you out. All right, we have a lipo cell, everyone.
How are you going to attach things to it?
I will solder wires onto it.
I see.
Yeah. You shouldn't solder wires directly to the tabs unless you've got like special equipment. But if you get on with it and do it quickly, you can, basically. This again,
you just need to not heat up the cell.
Yeah, basically, don't linger. And this is also one of these, like, if you don't know what you're doing, then you shouldn't be doing this kind of thing. And also, like, you should be doing this with a basic understanding of lipo cells and how they behave, and knowing that if the battery goes into runaway, I'm going to stand up, run out the back door, and lob it over the wall. So well, not over the wall, but I'm going.
I was about to say
into the brush. Yeah,
I'm just going to throw this into the woodland.
I'm going to lob it into the middle of the car park where it can just sit and go explode in the middle of a car park. So yeah.
Oh, how did this Heath start? A lipo battery from the local computer repair shop. Oh.
Right, that can go there. I should probably check the other cells in that battery actually, just to see if any of them are in better condition, but it's fine. Cool.
How are you going to charge it?
Well, this will trickle charge it if it's deep discharged. However, what I think I'm going to do, the first thing I'm going to do is just solder some wires onto this, just so we have an interface onto this cell. And then what I'll probably do is just quickly stick this on the bench power supply and just stick it on at 100 milliamps and just trickle it up to 3 volts.
Yeah.
Just so it's alive again, because this cell is functionally dead right now. So we've just got to just trickle it up to 3 volts at 100 milliamps or so just to wake the cell up. And then at that point, these guys are set up for 1 amp charge. So once we've got it up to 3 volts and the cell is awake, we can then just bang an amp into it with the TP4076 or the or 4050 or whatever it is.
So I understand. Are you gonna take power off of this board?
Right. So what I will do is we will plumb. I need a power switch as well, which is why I hesitated earlier on when I started opening it up. We'll connect this up to the 5-volt input of the D5, the D1, sorry. But that's going to mean that we might need a boost circuit actually. See, a Slime VR tracker, the D1 Mini will actually run all the way down to like 3.2 volts or something like that, because the D1 has a 3-volt reg on the back of it, and the first thing it actually does is step its 5-volt input down to 3.3 volts. However, the LEDs are expecting 5 volts. So running the LEDs raw off of the LiPo might not give us, might give unexpected results. So I might actually need to stick in a boost converter that just steps the battery voltage up to 5. So that might be a better way forward. Might try both, and we'll just see what happens. Because yeah, we can actually just see what happens basically. See if it's enough or not. Do they perchance make programmable charging circuits? I mean, sort of, yes. I mean, this module here, is a charge regulator, and as I say, you can set the charge on this, but then the output is just whatever the raw cell voltage is. So the output on this is 3.7 nominal up to 4.2, but then also the output from this will be at 5 volts when it's on charge. Sorry, the output on this will be 4.2 on charge. So yeah, whatever. So yeah, right. We're just gonna try and run it off of the raw battery voltage first and see what it does. Like if we turn it on and it's really dim, then it's a case of okay, it's not getting enough voltage. Fine, no problem. We'll stick in a boost adapter. I'm fairly certain I've got some boost modules, so we can just stick one of those in series. So yeah. You can get a board with a 4056 and a boost circuit. Yeah, absolutely. However, I don't have one of those, but I have lots of these and boost modules, and we've got loads of space in the back of the sign, so we can just put in multiple modules. Like, don't get me wrong, if I was designing a product, I would take a lot more care than this, but we're kind of just messing around here.
Using stuff that you have.
Indeed. Yeah. Power bank module will have built-in 5-volt boost. Yeah, that's right. A power bank module will be. Actually, I might have some power bank modules.
Yeah.
I think I've got power bank modules actually. Hang on a sec.
Oh, yeah, because it'll obviously want a boost up to the USB voltage effectively.
Yeah, that's right. Oh man, I've still got these. These tubes here, these are Nixie tubes. So it's a Nixie tube, but it does a bar graph instead. And I really want to do something with these. I've been sitting on these for years. I was going to make like a thermometer or something like that with them. Just never got round to it. Let's see. Got some XT60 connectors there. Didn't know I still had some of those. Got some SATA connect. Ooh, hold on a sec. What are those for? Oh, that's Be Quiet, I think. They shouldn't be in that box. That's a power bank box. Got loads of...
Use them to display the battery percentage of the batteries which are powering.
Oh no. Do you know how inefficient Nixie tubes are?
Runtime measured in minutes.
Aha, what's that? That's nothing. What's that? That looks like a... That looks like a boost module. Oh, sorry. I think that's a boost module. It's a very small one, but we don't need a big one. That's a boost module. I'm sure... I'm sure I had... what's that? Oh, those are USB micro breakout boards. What's that? That's a bigger boost circuit. I'll take that out as well, just in case we need that. PWM. I'm sure the last time I was rummaging around in here, I saw some power bank controllers and was, there we go, there's a power bank controller.
And here's one.
There we go. So yeah, that's a cheap-ass power bank controller board. So yeah, this would do it. We've got a battery interface, we've got charge connector, and we've got a 5-volt output. So basically, we take that USB port off of the board, and then just run wires off of the 5-volt rail there, and this would give us a charge and boost circuit. So yeah.
What's the charge rate on that? Is it going to be an amp?
Pretty bad, I think. I think it's more like 500 milliamps or something like that.
I see.
But also, we don't really care. It's not like we need these things to fast charge.
No, it was more just a case of, would the current input on the charge circuit allow you to run the light and charge it? Or will it be a case of the battery will be constantly discharging even though it's plugged into USB?
Good question. Don't know. So yeah. So yeah, it might be 1 amp by default. I'll be surprised if this charges at an amp. I would expect it to charge at 500 milliamps, if I'm honest. Mainly just because the circuitry is so tiny on it. Like, these things are designed to go in those really cheap power banks with a single 18650 cell in them. So, you know, box that big kind of thing. And an 18650 is obviously more than happy to take an amp of charge. But I doubt very much that chip can handle an amp of charge, bearing in mind that this is a charge and boost chip in a single thing. I mean, look at the size of the coil on that, man. It's tiny. So yeah, I'll be very impressed if this thing can pull an amp on charge. Either way, I think that's going to be our preferred module. I feel like we should try and run this off of a 3.7 nominal input and just see what happens, just to find out if we could run it off of TP4056. I think it's academic because this is a better choice, and we have one.
It'd be interesting to see.
But yeah, just as an interest thing, could you run the sign directly off of the raw LiPo? So,
given it's only a change of soldering 2 wires.
Yep. Right. So I'm going to grab some more bits over here. There's a power supply.
Okay.
Oh, well, it just suddenly occurred to me that I had another one, so it means that we can just, because that cell is dead and needs charging before it'll do anything anyway.
Yes.
So I'm just going to grab a kettle lead just so we can power this up. I hadn't thought, I thought reasonably far ahead, but not this far
the one
ahead.
That's there?
Oh yeah,
Is there not a multicoloured one just there that's not plugged into anything?
There is, and it's not plugged into anything.
Yes.
You're a genius, Caradog.
Infrequently.
Right.
Cloud of smoke.
Say the line, Bart. Right. I've got some easy hooks over here that will...
Save a line?
Ignition.
Fire!
All right. With some jumper leads on that I might steal. Probably won't actually, those are kind of grot.
Oh, is this the one you have to short out to set the voltage?
Yeah, it's dumb, this power supply. However, it works. Just for funsies, if you pitch the camera right down, it should be able to see the interface. Yeah, there we go.
Oh.
Right. I haven't used this guy in a while, so I'm just going to turn all the dials to 0. Right, I want... unshort. Set the voltage. It's very concerning. The display just stayed on after I turned it off then. Right, let's give it... That's fine. So let's put fine in the middle. Oh, well, that doesn't look very good. Oh, it's because we've got no amps. There we go. Right. Volts, give me 3.7. So we're just gonna reproduce a LiPo cell at nominal voltage. There we go, 3.7-ish. The accuracy of these analog power supplies is awful. So yeah, like it's kind of flickering between 3.7 and 3.8. So I'm like, okay, I'll turn the fine down a little bit. 3.7-ish. It's still ish. There's a reason why it only has 1 decimal point of accuracy, because like you can't
because it's not actually accurate to even 1 decimal place.
You can't dial in anything better than that anyway. Right, so now we turn the amps down, short the output, and now we turn the amps up. So oh, there we go. We're getting some output now. Right, 500 milliamps. So actually, let's just set this to an amp first, because we're going to connect it up to the output and actually just try and drive the sine off of it. 1-ish amps. There we go. That'll do. Right, so we've got 3.7 volt, 1 amp output here. So let's plumb that into the sine and see what we can do. So, so firstly, I need to move all of this stuff out of my way. And we need to get, right, if you want to pitch the camera down again. I tell you what you could do as well. If you go to big view, oh, I was going to say adjust it back to look at the power supply.
Wrong way.
That'll do. Right, go to the big view, so click the square under the X, and then on the preset hit plus. And then that saved this as a preset position now. And then if you pitch it back so it's looking directly down, and then hit the plus again, and then it will preset it directly down, and then you can jump between the two.
Too far.
Too low. Lower. Very good. Right. I could probably... right, so we can inject on this. So grey is our 5 volts and white is our ground. So I'm just going to inject. What would be handy actually is if I got a USB cable and just chopped the end off. And I probably have one of those around somewhere, but I can't be bothered to find it. However, this is why I got the easy hooks, because now I can just... The easy hooks are these boys. This is a little hook that can hook over things. So I'm just going to hook that into those jumper headers there. And now, and this is just going to inject power onto the 5 volt rail of the sine. Oop.
Is that going to be okay for the controller?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's plumbed directly into the 5 volt pin of the D5. And that in turn is just, that is just its hot rail, basically.
Okay.
So, yeah. Right, 3.7 volts, and we're pulling 230 milliamps. So, I'm not sure why that's come up a different colour.
It's
it's the other sign. Yeah, sorry. I've forgotten that we'd changed signs. Good. Okay. Well, that actually seems to work quite well. It actually seems to be quite happy with the lower voltage.
Oh.
What?
That's still turned on.
Oh, I see. So now you're connecting to the wrong sign again.
Yes. I was just like, hold on a moment. What's the password for this one?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the same power supply and it swings like that. Yeah, oh yeah, this thing is terrible. This thing is... There's a reason why this isn't on my bench anymore. This was the first power supply I bought, and it was good to get started with, but the accuracy and the stability of it is horrendous. And it's only really good for just doing it's only really good for situations where accuracy is just not important. Like right now, accuracy is not important. We only need like 100 millivolts of accuracy here, which is all we're getting. Whereas, like if I was trying to do voltage injection on a motherboard here, 100 millivolts swing in any direction, that's awful, man. You don't want that. So yeah. Lower to 3.5. Yeah, I'll well actually I'll wait for Caradog to set the power on it, because Caradog is currently connecting to control the LEDs. So yeah, because then the interesting thing will be to actually boost it up to 5 volts and see if they get brighter. So then we can see whether that's actually having a meaningful impact on the brightness or not. Because theoretically, the LEDs are current controlled. So the voltage input shouldn't matter as long as it is enough. So yeah, like if we lower the voltage, the amperage will just increase until the voltage is too low to drive the LEDs. Past that, because we're current controlling, it technically shouldn't matter. Based on my understanding. Are we dialed in?
Is that changing anything?
Nothing has changed. That changed it.
I am connected.
Yep, it just changed to a different. Yeah, and it's just gone to rainbow puke. That's solid red, and we're getting different power draws now.
I cannot control the brightness because that should be off.
There's obviously there. It just turned off. Yeah, there's obviously a technique to what controls are set and do.
There we go. Now I can control the brightness.
I see. Yeah, we're at a higher power draw now, so that's actually...
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
That was weird. I had to turn it on and off. Yeah, I've just changed the power again and it's not changed again. But if I turn it off and then on and then change the power, now it's changed.
Weird. Well, at least you've got a method that works.
Yeah.
Yep, cool. All right, so is that maximum brightness now?
That is maximum brightness, and I've changed the per LED wattage as well.
Okay, cool. So we're at...
That is as high as it will go.
Yeah, we're at 330 milliamps now. So I'm gonna pull the voltage up to 5 volts. Oh, going to that preset has changed us. That's the same power level, more or less, 300 milliamps. It's fluctuating slightly because the color is changing, which adjusts the power draw, because the individual diodes of an RGB LED have different power draws. Red does not take as much power as blue does. So changing the colors will change the power draw. And conversely...
Right, that should be white and that should be maxed effectively.
Because white is RG and B at full brightness, that is the maximum draw that the LED can do.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Interesting that that's still 330 milliamps, so I think there is a current limit for the... We were bouncing off of a current limiter there on a per LED basis. We could probably calculate this by calculating the actual number of LEDs. However, I'm just going to push it up to 5 volts and see if it gets brighter now, which is what I want to know. So, yeah, so pushing up to... Wow! Yeah, pushing up to 5 volts has pushed us up to 950 milliamps. So, yeah.
I think that might have been me. Hold
okay,
on.
I'll...
2 seconds. Don't change anything. Yes, that was me.
Okay, yeah. We just hit the current limit of 1 amp that I'd set. As in we're power supply current limited now.
Right.
So,
that should have just reduced. Why did that not reduce?
Try turning it off and on again or something?
That.
Man, the clamping on this is awful. It bounced off of 1.3 amps just then. So...
Yeah, but the LED preferences don't seem to apply very well.
Yeah.
So, right, in theory...
All right, that changed. Right, there we go. We're now at 940 milliamps.
Right, and then I changed the current maximum of the LED to 35.
Yeah.
which is a reduction, and hit save.
And it got brighter.
And it got brighter. Yeah.
Yeah, there must be some other...
Something is...
interaction of limiters there.
Yeah.
Okay then, fine. Well, I tell you what, hang on a sec. I'll just I'll bring up the amps just so we're not power supply limited, because then we're not seeing conflicting results. So I'll push up the amps. Right, so we're now unlimited on power, and we're at 1.4 amps. That just came down to 1.2.
Right, okay. So increasing the per LED current limit reduced the power.
Interesting. Maybe it's because it then hit the total power limit instead of the per LED power limit.
Maybe.
There's obviously some kind of weird interaction between the per LED limit and the total power limit. This is kind of why I wanted to do this, just because, like, I don't know what exactly we're achieving here. It's just interesting to look at these and look at what happens and go, you know.
Right, that should be bugger all usage.
Yeah, that's 120 milliamps, which is not enough to illuminate it, apparently. Right, should we go back to... Are you okay? Should we just put in a constant? Because I feel like we're fighting the firmware here, which is not what we really care about. Nikolai says the LEDs will never draw more than 850 milliamps because there's not enough of them to draw that. In that case, the power supply is lying to me, because the power supply says we're pulling 1.35 amps at 5 volts at the moment.
It's just about visible, yeah.
Yeah, so, like, and I know that this power supply isn't super accurate, but even if we assume a degree of accuracy, there's something funny going on there, you know.
Yes. Something is unhappy.
Yeah.
Right, so if I change
Carrot
that...
Screech.
So I change that, and then go save. Why is it limited to... Something is horridly miscalibrated, I feel.
Okay.
Because I've set a maximum current of 500 milliamps, but the power supply is reading that as 350. But if I increase the maximum current to 5 amps and then hit save, it goes to 1.35.
See, that is probably the actual limit of all of the LEDs
which
combined.
makes sense.
Yeah.
But why does setting 500 go to 350? So if I set 1400, that should, in theory, change nothing. No, it reduced.
Yeah.
To 0.92. I don't think this unit that is doing current reading can actually read the current of the LEDs.
Yeah.
And it's just throwing random numbers in random places.
Yeah. There will be some inaccuracies somewhere. Like, it's probably... there's going to be some kind of current measurement somewhere, like on the D1, for example, that only has so much accuracy to it.
Yeah.
And there is probably
but setting 1.4 amps current limit shouldn't have reduced our 1300 power usage to 900.
Pass. I think we've just got to set a known value, so then we can start calculating battery usage, which is kind of the bit that we cared about. Because, like, I know there's a mystery here in the firmware, but I don't care about the mystery of the firmware.
No, absolutely. I was just trying to work out if we could actually get any of the numbers to line up to make sense. But no, the answer is no.
Yeah. See, yeah, Nikolai, it tells you in prefs what the current draw of the LEDs is. Yeah.
That's what I'm looking at.
That's it. That's what we're looking at, but that doesn't seem to tally with what the power supply tells us we're using. And unless the power supply is lying through its teeth. But while I doubt the accuracy of this power supply, I don't think it's that far out. So yeah.
Yeah.
And the D1, the controller, will be using some current itself, but like we're talking like 100 milliamps tops. 100 milliamps would be disgusting. So the fact that we're sort of like, you know, our numbers are like are a few hundred off of what we're expecting. That's way more than what.
But it does infer that it's using.
Yeah. See, now
0.1
with the LEDs off, we're now at 110 milliamps. So yeah, that would imply that the D1 itself.
I don't think the settings actually apply when the firmware thinks the settings apply, and I think they only apply when you actually cycle the LEDs off and on again. And it's applying some of the settings and not some of the others until you power cycle. But yeah, if we leave it just like this is a fixed thing and it's basically an amp.
Fair enough, yeah. We have a predictable output at the moment that is an amp at 5 volts. So if I pull the voltage down to 3.7 now, they do get dimmer. So yeah, we've gone down to 600 milliamps at 3.7 volts. So running it off of raw battery voltage does reduce the brightness. However, we were also reducing the brightness down from the, not the max that it can output, but certainly near the max, and we don't want it to be on max anyway.
Yeah.
So theoretically, we could drive this...
In theory, you could just increase the current limit and get similar brightness again.
We'd essentially just be voltage limited. So we could just drive it directly off of the LiPo and it would work just fine. However, because we've got the power bank controller on hand here, I'm actually just going to stick that in there.
Yeah.
Because then we can have a theoretical for. Although actually, I might only have one of these. I'll have to dig into the box and see if we've got another. Maybe we'll do both. We'll do one that's LiPo, and we'll do one that's running off of raw battery, and one that has the power bank controller in it. Very good. Right. Okay. I'm going to disconnect this. Whoop. And I'm going to start charging our LiPo cell.
There you go. The power bank doodad.
Yes.
Is connected directly to the battery.
Yep.
And is the thing that will be charging the battery.
Correct.
Yes. And it has a maximum voltage of 4.2, probably.
Correct.
Probably actually 4.1.
Yes.
And will not let the voltage that it is regulating on the battery side go above 4.1 effectively.
Correct, yes.
And it will not let it go below 3.2.
Yeah, it probably has a cutoff of about 3.1 would be my guess.
Oh, I see, okay.
Yeah. Yep.
So yes, so that will boost the battery to 5 volts and also cap the maximum voltage of the battery and stop the discharge.
Yep, it does everything in one chip basically. Which, let me turn on this light again. Yeah, that was the right one. See if we can get the big close-up on that. Can we get a number on that chip? Is that possible? Are we at max? Yeah, if you bash in maximum zoom.
HT 5245?
Not a number that I know. At any rate,
528S? S2?
Ooh, someone's probably had time to screen cap that. At any rate, yeah, so that is just a power bank chip.
Yeah.
It is a purpose-made chip that is designed specifically for running cheap-ass power banks. It's not a good chip, but it is a chip that does a thing. So yeah.
Oh, Arnold says 928S.
Very well. I'll assume that because I can't be bothered to go and turn on the microscope. Cool. Right. I'm going to quickly let's start recovering this battery while and then I'll desolder the USB connector off of this, and we'll start putting jumper wires on stuff to actually put this into the sign. Right. So let's set voltage, and so I'm going to set this to like 3 volts or so ish. That'll do. And then I'm going to set the current to 100 milliamps just so we can trickle charge this cell back up to 0. So put that in as short, and I want tongue at the right angle. There we go, that's about 100 milliamps. And now, right, which one's positive and which one's negative? I'm going to mark it so I don't forget. All right, bam and bam. Right, that's showing me a positive voltage, so therefore the right-hand tab is positive. So I'm going to go boop. Positive, negative. And I'll put that on there. And I'll put that on there. And I'm going to put all of this to one side where I can't knock it.
I'm also going to detach the side cutters from my cables.
Yeah. Right, there we go. So, just want to do the high shot just so people can see that as well. Whoop. And then just nudge it up a bit more, just...
Hold on. Oh, it zoomed. Oh, it does the zoom as well.
Yeah.
No.
Other way, because we're inverted. There we go. There we go.
Ta-da!
So, yeah, so as you can see, our set voltage of 3 volts, we're now slowly pushing the voltage up on this cell at 100 milliamps. So this cell is just going to very slowly creep up to 3 volts. Yeah, so we're just very gently bringing it up again. And you've got to be gentle if you're recovering a deep discharge cell, because the when a LiPo cell discharges, you've got ions have left one electrode to go to the other electrode, and if you force, it's very, very heavily weighted toward the discharged configuration. And if I try and bang an amp into that now, the rush of current will physically damage the chemistry of the electrodes. It will damage the surface, the coating of the electrodes. And you'll get literal physical speckling and stuff on the electrodes. And that is permanent damage to the cell that damages its capacity and may even introduce a short circuit through the cell. Whereas if you do this very gently, you're just very gently pushing the power in. Then when it gets up to its natural resting state of, 3 point something volts, then we can start putting it up to an amp and we can just charge it normally again. If we were really concerned about the cell, you might want to you might want to trickle charge it up to, say, 3.2 volts, and then just let it rest and monitor the voltage and see if the voltage just falls. If we did that and the voltage just tumbled back down to like 1.7 again, that means the cell is completely wrecked and you shouldn't try and reuse it. However, because it was sitting at 1.7, I've no reason to believe that it's going to do that. If it was like at 0, I wouldn't attempt to use the cell at all. But because it was at 1.7, that's deep discharged. We can just trickle this up to 3 volts and then leave it to sit at 3 volts for a bit and then turn up the power. So say I. Good, right, so I'm now going to desolder this USB port, so we have a module to put on. What are you looking at?
I was intrigued by OBS showing CPU usage of up to 5%, given that all of the encoding in theory should be on the GPU.
There's still some overheads because, like OBS has to process the data and send it to and from and such.
Yeah, but I was just making sure that there was actually work being done on the GPU.
See, yeah.
And there is something.
Can we see the chat again, please?
There is something showing there, so it is.
Yeah.
Yes, not incorrect.
Worth checking sometimes, yeah. Right, what's occurring?
Just the enjoyment of the...
Oh, the presets, yeah. I can't remember if I've said it on the podcast before, but it makes me the face cam for the YouTube rig. The preset for that also has the find face on activation. So when the camera initializes, it will look for a face in the frame and go to that face. So when I open OBS to start recording a YouTube video, the face cam will go. It will come up from the because the cameras naturally just point directly downward when you turn them off as a privacy filter. So it will go up, and the preview on OBS will be like, I'm like, oh, hello there, you know. So
it's me.
Yeah, Graham jump scare. Right, I'm zooming through the chat. Hello, Wed Bear. VCC range of the WeMOS is 1.7 to 3.6. Yeah, and the D1 Mini specifically has a regulator for that. But because we're plumbing directly onto the 5-volt rail, it's happy with that.
What is a WeMOS?
That is the microcontroller being used. Do I have a dead one here? Hang on a sec. Let me just switch off the thing, because I've been showing one on. I've been showing the back of it on
So the WeMOS is the bit that's
yeah
put on 90 degrees rotation to the board.
No, that's a serial controller. So if you have a look at the preview, because this is the top of the same circuit
I see.
board.
It's not visible.
Yeah. So this whole this black section in the middle with the tin cover on it, that is a WeMOS something, a WeMOS 32 or WeMOS 16 something. Oh yeah, WeMOS ESP, whatever that number says.
Right.
And this is the microcontroller, and there's the blue circuit board that it's on is a breakout board called, and this particular one is called a D1 Mini, and the breakout board provides the appropriate voltage rails, so it provides a USB port and a 3.3 volt regulator for the WeMOS, and it's also got a serial interface on it, so you can talk to it over USB. So that chip on the back, so here's the back of one, and so on the back of it you can see that there's a couple of regulators on there, and there is a serial interface chip as well that's doing other stuff. So yeah, I'm just going to quickly check if I've got any scrapper ones over here.
So the side we can see of the board in the LED light is the reverse of that black and blue board.
I've got a complete one here. That one I've ripped off. There we go.
Hey.
There we go. This is a hole, and I'll just quickly show it on camera and then hand it over. So here is another one. This is a knockoff brand one, but it does the same thing. Oh, this one's not a D1. This is a slightly different one, but it's the same principle. So you've got an ESP on one side, and you've got, oh man, this one is not a good example. I'm going to get a different one.
What is ESP? Because the only usage of ESP I'm aware of is extrasensory perception.
I don't know actually.
Is ESP the class of the chip with the can on?
Yeah, Espressive, that's the one. Yeah, I was going to say, I know this, but I can't remember the answer. Yeah, Espressive is the brand of the microcontroller. However, there are many third-party knockoffs. So ESP is a bit of a generic term, but Espressive make these tiny little controllers which are designed for Internet of Things devices. So yeah, there is an ESP, and so Espressive don't make this whole circuit board, they make the black bit in the middle, and the D1 Mini is a generic design that provides a USB power and serial interface for the board. So yeah, that's the module that we're working with here. So yes. I did a really terrible job of explaining all of that, so hopefully it somehow got across. The battery has hit 3 volts, so I'm just going to nudge the amperage. Actually, we're voltage controlled. I'm going to nudge the voltage up.
I'm going to nudge the voltage up to 3 volts and the amps increase again.
Yep. Well, that's the thing. It stopped being voltage limited and became current limited.
Oh yeah, but it was just a fact of you adjusted the voltage to 3 volts, and it became current limited.
This is why using power supplies, especially in what is almost short circuit conditions, can be extremely confusing. Where you're constantly switching between constant voltage and constant current.
Yeah.
So yeah. Right. So yes, ESPs are great little boards. Yeah, I was always a bit scared of them, but since I started building slime VR trackers, I've really grown to appreciate what you can do with them. I think they are super cool. Yeah, and I kind of want to do more stuff. I just don't know what I would do with them. Right, I'm just going to wet these joins very roughly, I might add. I might need to hot air this, actually. Actually, balls. This would be a lot easier to hot air off the board.
Very well.
Yeah, I'm just going to quickly zap this off with the hot air gun. Stand by.
Very well. The ESP8266 is a low-cost Wi-Fi microchip with built-in TCP/IP networking software and microcontroller capability, produced by Expressive Systems in Shanghai, China.
Yes.
Right. The small module allows microcontrollers to connect to a Wi-Fi network and make simple TCP/IP connections using Haze-style commands. Good. However, at first there was almost no English language documentation, low price. Ah, interesting.
You might want to mute me because I'm being noisy.
You aren't. You are about -40.
Oh, fair enough.
You are reasonably isolated. Close. There you go. Yeah, chat, please. Yes. Yes, and apparently these boards have been replaced by ESP32s.
Yeah, it's not a modern board. Yeah.
So yes, I was just like, that really confused me initially, that the ESP82 had been replaced by the 32. Like, a bigger number.
Yeah, there are more powerful versions of these out. That can provide more compute power and also use less electricity. Oops, something else. Oh no. Right, more than just the USB port came off just then.
Did you just accidentally everything?
I just knocked the coil off as well. It's okay, it's okay. It's just a little dinked.
It has been uncoiled.
I can fix it. I have the technology. Yeah. However, a lot of people stick with this board just because it's a very familiar board. They know it very well, and they've optimized their firmware for it. Well, again, speaking about the Slime VR community, the Slime VR community have done massive amounts of optimization for the D1 in particular. So it's just a very well-known board to them. So they know all the ins and outs of it. It's not necessarily the best board, you know. There are some very interesting projects, like I forget the name of it, but someone's done a super optimized one where they got the power consumption down to like 50 milliwatts. 50 milliamps. And so it means that they've made Slime VR trackers that have like, you know, a 48-hour runtime off of a 200 milliamp hour battery or something like that, you know, something crazy. And again, bearing in mind these are Wi-Fi connected devices, you know, but they're very experimental, and they're very much a case of this is not the recommended setup. This is just someone being like, it's not a question of who will let me, but who will stop me, you know. Right, I'm going to very roughly resolder this back on. Well, that didn't go very well at all.
Ah, we're back to being voltage limited on the battery. That's good.
Right. Just figuring out where I'm on shot and where I'm not.
It was also just your face. Yes. The 32C3 now implements Bluetooth. Interesting. So you could have Bluetooth on there as well. Does the Slime VR tracker setup use that Wi-Fi connection for data transfer of its location? Is that how it communicates?
Yes.
And does the tracking?
Yep. It presents itself as a device on the network, and then you run the Slime VR software on your computer. That's really sideways. I've got to fix that. Then you run the Slime VR software on your computer, which then looks for slime trackers on the network.
So, yes. So it's a case of, obviously, you'd need to have reasonably close proximity to your access point.
Yeah, I've not really put it to the test to see how far away you can get without it having a problem. But yeah. All right, that's just fallen off again. Right, let me just get this straight. I'm just trying to do this entirely by hand, floating in midair, staying on shot, which is just a terrible idea, really. I'm going to stop trying to do this on shot, and I'm just going to stick my head down over it.
Click, 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 click. Hold on. Wrong one. There we go.
Too low.
Zoom.
Knowing my luck, I've just butchered this thing, but...
I don't know. I was going to say this is a reasonably good angle as well. You did a good job on that one.
I see.
Intense Graham eye.
I should probably test if this, works.
Probably. Maybe a bit.
Yeah. As a treat.
Zoom. Enhance.
Okay. Bald spot finder cam. It's okay. I've got a hat for that. That video bombed. No one clicked on the laser hat. And not even it did mid. It did 5,000 views in 24 hours, which is stone dead video kind of thing. Only the diehards watched it. Yeah, and I was just like, really? I did a thumbnail saying it's full of lasers, showing laser beams, and no one clicked on it. Really? I was like, I know this isn't a super interesting video, but surely someone will want to see the laser hat, you know. Just no opportunity to watch it. I can't believe this, Crazy Yo. You're the downfall of my channel. You're not. It's fine. Don't worry about it. I'm just joking. Right. Okay, so I've now removed... I'm going to trim off this side bit because that doesn't need to be there. Watch me snap the whole thing in half now. There we go.
Now the owner can sit in front of a computer with the hat on and watch how it works.
Yes. This thing is missing LEDs as well.
So it's a little bit in poor condition.
Yeah. Let's see if it actually works. Right, so this cell has some power in it now. I'm going to disconnect that. And I'll stick this on the multimeter and we'll just watch to see if the voltage sags a meaningful amount, which you probably won't, but... Right. So I've put 3.2 into this now, and it looks like that's holding actually. That is very, very, very slowly going to go down. It will self-discharge a little bit. We might see that drop to 241 in a sec, but we're talking about we're in the range of millivolts here, which is nothing on the scale of a LiPo cell. So yeah, like if that was literally just counting down as we watched it, that might be concerning, but that's actually holding a very steady voltage, especially because we haven't really given this a long time.
Yeah.
Normally if I trickle charge a cell, I kind of want to give it 100 milliamps for like half an hour, maybe an hour kind of thing, because it's like reheating food. You can't just put it on full whack. You have to slowly warm it up so it's warmed all the way through. Same with this. We want to warm the battery all the way through so it's not just hot on the surface. It's actually heated through kind of thing. Same deal here. But yeah, that's holding a steady voltage. This cell is fine. Good. So we can bash an amp into this now and that won't flinch. So let's hook it up to this guy and see if it actually charges. So I'm going to put some jumper wires onto things. I'll put on some temporary jumper wires. I want some longish wires on the actual cell, so I only have to solder to this once. So let's just do a very quick... So if this is the back of the sign, that is supporting the back. I might judiciously see if I can snap off one or two of those supports to fit the cell in the back somewhere. Or actually, I mean, it's kind of flat. It might just go in. You know what? Let's find out. That goes in there. Bam, done, battery powered. Right, that goes on there. Actually, we don't need that in right now. And that. Does that? Oh, other way up, there we go. Right, can I fit that over the top? Yes.
Yesn't.
Yes, and yeah. I can. Yeah, like it puts a slight bulge in it, but you know, like once I put the screw in, it's not going to fall out, and that means I don't have to. It means I don't have to snap off two of these supports and risk just snapping the whole thing in half. So
a Dremel cutting disc.
I could do.
That would be a safer way of taking it off and snapping it.
Yeah. Yeah, that means getting the Dremel out though, is what I'm thinking. If I was doing this on my own and such, I probably would. Well, yeah, no, we don't have to take them off entirely. We've just got to cut them in half, so I don't even have to get right down flush.
Yeah, you just need to reduce their height a little bit.
Yeah, just out of interest, what would happen if I just got the side cutters and just went... Yep, that works.
Modification.
Hacking, Gromit.
Hacking Gromit.
I don't know why I needed to do that. It's just the way I said hacking. It just suddenly came out that way.
It kind of sounds like a new early 2000s coming of age British teen drama.
There we go. Bam. Like I bought one.
Excellent. You could even double-sided tape it in so it doesn't rattle.
I mean, let's not get carried away, but, you know.
So it doesn't rattle. Yeah. I'm just going to look at this. Fonk. Cronk.
But yeah, I'll probably do something along that ilk, yes. Right, that's there. The other issue we've got is where to put the charge port. Because we've got a hole there. So in an ideal world, we're going to mount this somewhere down here, and we need to make another hole in the side of it somewhere.
You can't take that out.
I could, and also we don't actually need direct access. The only reason why we would need access to the USB port on the D1 now at this point would be if we wanted to reflash it or reprogram it. And if we're doing that, well, I'm sure we can take the back cover off and plug it in then. So actually, yeah, if we figure out how this comes off, we could then just double-sided this in the position of the D1 and use the existing hole.
Yes.
Yep, let's do it. This is taking a lot longer than I expected because we're waffling and stuff along the way, but is that not why we're here? Right. I love designs like this in 3D printing where people have designed like a little clip that fits it in place and stuff like that. I need like a poker. Where's that? I'm sure I had a screwdriver out. Fine, I'll use these.
I use the side cutters. Snip.
Try not to bin a hole in the side of it now. Oh my days. Oh, there's the screwdriver. It's too big. Oh my god. I need something to poke with. Something small. 2.5. That might be small enough. There we go. Oh, interesting. Of course, that is the top of the board, and that is the ESP chip on the top there. Because I'm so used to seeing these with the metal cap over the top that I was just suddenly, yeah. Huh, odd. I've not seen one like this before where the ESP is directly on the breakout board. Have I been talking out my arse? Is this just not a D1 Mini? It's the same form factor as a D1 Mini. Interesting. I've just not seen one like that before.
Nikolai says it's a V3 board, so it might be different.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Yeah. It is very different, but yeah, fair enough. It doesn't really make a difference because all the pin outs and all the rest of it are all identical. So like you can have lots of very small tweaks. You can see lots of them that are never quite the same.
Yeah.
And they just use whatever parts they had on hand for that production run. So I was making those assumptions, and I just assumed they had a weird QFN serial chip on the bottom. But yeah, doesn't matter. Cool, right, okay, so we're going to relocate this somewhere else, and we're going to put our charge board down there. So the charge board is going to be like there, and I want to mount the charge board upside down because I need access to the 5-volt rail on the back. So that's going to go like there-ish.
Are we still using the charge board?
Sorry, the oh yeah, because yeah, we need to use the charge board or a TP4056. Because
I see. By charge board, you do not mean the TP46.
Correct.
You
sorry,
mean
the power bank.
You mean
board.
the power bank board
yeah.
with the 5-volt regulated.
Yeah. Yes.
Understood. Yes. That was my question.
Yes.
I was wondering why you were using.
It is good that you are asking questions because I'm not being clear and concise in my answers. And yes, someone just said, yes, I just said hot snot time. I support this endeavour. Right, okay, so wires. I kind of want, have I got any long bits of wire in this box of tricks that would just be a bit less horrid? What's this? Yeah, whatever that is, I don't need
crime.
it. Probably. Yeah, this is stuff I've ripped out from some other thing. Like when I'm throwing out cases, I'll often rip out header wires like this. Yeah, this used to be a front I/O harness because now for projects like this, I have some nice wire that I can use. So cool. Right. So. Battery and power. So the battery wire is the bit we care about, and we want it to be like, I don't know, about like that long or so. So let's pull back that. So we've got about that amount of it. That'll do. Cut that off. Right. Don't need that. I'm going for green battery wires because I'm hectic like that.
Punch's power supply. Charging!
Twist that up. Good. Right. Let's stick this on the cell, which is there. And then we have power input to the cell. Right, am I going to do anything about those copper tabs? I'm going to trim these copper tabs back just a little bit more because I'm going to use the existing solder blobs that are there. That just went up my sleeve. You can tell that this is a very cheap. This has come out of a very cheaply made battery because these have been soldered in the first place. Any real battery manufacturer should have spot welded these. So that's how you know, like, like if anyone was just like, oh, you butchered a perfectly good battery, it wasn't a good battery because they soldered the tabs on the cells. So, right, bam.
Are you going to continue the logic and use green positive?
Yes. Right. And we're literally just going to spot this on, and then we have something that is a bit easier to deal with.
Zoom, enhance. What?
There we go, that is up to temperature. Although I don't think I've got enough temperature. Yeah, I'm going to go up. Let's go 380. And I'm actually going to I'm actually going to flow just some fresh solder just to get this moving, just so it actually moves nicely. There we go.
I think part of your tab's going to come off.
I think the whole tab's going to come off. I'm just going to let that happen.
Yes.
Yeah. As the fact that there is already some solder on the tab is fine because it's very difficult. These tabs, I can't remember what metal they are, but solder does not want to adhere to them. You often have to sand them to get anything that will actually take solder, which is why I didn't want to remove the tab entirely, because I'm like, that already has taken to it, so I know it'll be fine. Oh, that didn't work at all. Let me just tin these wires.
Piles and piles of solder.
The hell? Something tells me this wire is crap. I can't believe this scrap wire that I pulled out of a scrap case isn't very good.
Can't imagine this scrap is scrappy.
There we go, that's better. Yeah, that's fine.
I don't know. We could be disingenuous and use the poor performance of the hat video as evidence that you have to have faces in thumbnails.
I mean, I don't often have a face in a thumbnail anyway. I do sometimes when I think of it, but yeah. Right, there we go. We actually have wires on these now. If I was going belt and braces, now, I would fold the tabs over and I would mummify the whole thing in Kapton tape so there was coverings on all of it. I can't be asked. This is a project that I'm not. This is going into a sign that's going to sit on a shelf. It's fine. But yeah, something. Do as I say, not as I do. You have to make faces with very over expressions. Yeah, you've got to do the Mr. Beast smile. That's what Mr. Beast does in all of his videos. It's very confusing. Yep, it's a grimace. Right. Good. So I'm going to solder this to the B+ on our controller now. I feel like I'm going really slowly today. Bam.
At least you roughly know what's going on.
Bam. One of the problems with doing stuff like this with a lipo cell is you can't turn off the cell. So like at this point, everything we're doing now is with a hot cell kind of thing. Oh, I've just remembered the other problem that we haven't solved yet.
What?
Power switch. I need a way of actually, switching it off. So I'll have to find a switch that I can put in series with the output from this to the microcontroller.
Yes.
Right, I need to trim down those a little bit.
It's okay, you can just have a wire that comes out the side of the case and you just twist it together.
Oh no. I'm gonna just wet the joins on this guy. Wake up.
Why'd you put your kids over the table? Why did you?
I don't think you trust.
Don't consider the fact that song's like 25 years old.
No, it's not. The 90s were 10 years ago.
Oh God, no, it's not. It's 30 years old.
You shut your mouth. Oh. Back again. All right.
Back again.
Yeah, we're good. All right, and I'm gonna go splat out. Why did that not float? I'm gonna tin the wires. Every time I'm just like, I don't need to bother tinning the wires. I've got a big blob of solder on the pad. Tin your wires, people. It
More
works.
flux.
Oh, if you need flux for this, you're doing something wrong. It would help in all fairness, but what just turned off? Oh, the YouTube rig. Fair enough. It just suddenly got a lot quieter in here, and I was just like, something just turned off, and I didn't turn it off.
It's always that thing. Why is something changed?
Yeah. All right, there we go. And as a special treat, I've connected them the right way around. I've connected the battery to the output. The battery goes on the B+ rail. The battery the battery pins.
Yes.
This is probably painful to watch. It's even more painful to be doing. I really should be like putting this in a clamp and everything.
It's okay. It's the point for Teltec to go. So you remember I bought you those helping hands?
I'll help his hands in a minute. Right, it's fine. It's fine.
Is it though? Is it fine? Is it okay?
Annie, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay, Annie?
Teltec, I was just typing that.
Oh my God, please. I'm looking for my vice and I can't find it. There it is. Angrily adjust vice. There we go. I was just going to say, you're having fun there, yeah.
Teltec?
There we go, done.
When are you going to get that PCB holding clamp you keep saying you need in the videos?
When I find one that I think is actually what I need, because a lot of them are either... most of the ones that I see are just designed for small boards or don't account for awkwardly shaped boards like motherboards and things like that. So I'm just not convinced I can find one that's actually useful, is the answer there. Right. Okay, so we've connected our LiPo cell to a battery bank controller. So I will now proceed to try and charge it. So we'll just confirm that the power bank controller is functional and working. So here is our power supply. So if I plug this in, hopefully it will not explode and we should see it charging at a sensible voltage. B+, B-, good. Activate. There we go. We've even got a charging LED. It's got a blinking LED. Right, so that's banging 750 milliamps into it. So yeah, which seems sensible. That might sag it may well, like if we left this for a while, the power bank chip will probably heat up and thermal throttle. In fact, it's already doing that because something on the back of the board just burned my hand. Ow, yeah, that chip is burning hot, so it's just going to thermal throttle itself back. In fact, I'm going to get the thermal camera just to prove a point, because it does just prove how terrible these cheap power banks actually are. Whoop. Oh, you're trying to measure the temperature with your thing? Yeah, you'd have to arrange it correctly.
Yeah. There we go.
40. I think it's higher than that.
Well, it's just like, oh yes, now I'm actually pointing at the circuit board.
Yeah. I'm just going to get this to a point where we can see it on the thing as well. There we go. Oh, 100 degrees. Love to see it.
Look at that resolution though.
Yep, that's with the macro lens on.
Yeah.
So you guys can just about see that in the top left of your screen. So yeah, hang on a sec. If I bring that around, see if you can just, if you hide the face cam and then just punch down on that.
Ah! There we go.
Yeah, so there we go. There's our charge chip running at a very cool 100 degrees C. So yeah, these things they just thermal throttle. That's just what they do. And so...
Are you certain the coil's not shorted?
Well, it's now throttling down, so we've now dropped to, 630 milliamps. So yeah, no, the coil is not shorted. It is just, that's just what they do, man.
That's
yeah.
That's gonna melt the PLA, surely.
Probably. We should probably make sure that it's not in direct contact. Yeah. Like, there's the actual amount of heat energy being released is not going to be that much. Just because you've got something at 100 C doesn't mean there's a lot of actual thermal capacity there.
No, but it just resting on the PLA.
However,
will
yes,
melt it.
it should not be in direct contact. Yeah. So yeah, good. Right. Okay, right, so we're now charging the cell. So we can now charge this cell. This cell is alive. We can charge it. So I'm going to disconnect that again now.
Golden's alive.
So now we need to get the 5-volt positive and negative over to our microcontroller, and then we have now made this sign battery charged, which has taken a very long time and gone through many hoops and hurdles. However,
it's only taken 2 hours, 15 minutes.
We've had a lot of rambling, and this is what happens when you're kind of just like dicking around with whatever you've got lying around, which is part of the fun, in my opinion. I say, but rapidly doing damage control for our own show, you know.
Damage control for my ego.
Yes. Okay, so balls power switch as well. How are we going to switch it on and off? Power switch. I don't think I have any like sliding switches. What have I got?
Stay. Thank you.
I've got loads of tactile buttons.
Oh.
Are you okay?
I apparently turned off the microphone.
Oh, good job.
Hello? Nope. Yes. Hello.
Welcome back.
It flipped over in my shirt and got very twisted.
I see.
I was just like, sit, still.
I've got, oh no. I mean, I've got some JST wires so I can just make and break a wire connection, but that's kind of gross. but on account that I don't actually have any like slide switches or anything like that.
Do you have anything in that little like box of doodads? You know, like the resistor, the little plastic pot of like resistors and LEDs.
Yeah. Do you want to bring back the face cam because it's still off?
Thing.
And yeah, that's a good shout.
Hello.
Let me just see if we've got anything in the open source upgraded electronic fun kit.
This is my fun kit.
No.
I see.
I don't want to steal anything from this because that's a full board. No, is the answer to that. No, I'm going to stick to JST on it because, yeah, which is kind of gross, but it does actually work.
Yes.
So to give an example of what that looks like.
Here's one I prepared earlier.
Yeah, these are a little bit on the chunky side, but... So you can buy these on eBay and places like that. They're kind of expensive. I bought these for, but these are sort of expensive, but they're also just really good in a pinch. They are just pre-wired JST connectors. So we've just got a male and a female there. So we've just got a nice, neat little plug. So we can just have these two wires just sticking out the side with just a make-break connection. So normally what I would do is I would put these between, like what I could have done was put these between here and here. So there was actually a method for disconnecting the cell. However, I wasn't going to do that just because it wasn't necessary.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay, right. However, that's what I will implement. So we've got that. So I want to put the supply side, which wants to be that, onto there. And then that will need extending over. Actually, it won't need extending over because we're going to have the D1 light right next to it, and the whole thing will just stick out the side, which is kind of ugly, but it'll do. So it is what it is. Let's solder those on. This is kind of more jank than I was expecting it to be. Actually, I don't know what I expected, actually. Imagine me being not jank.
Yes. Imagine.
65 watts. Whoop.
So this is disconnecting the output side.
Yes, so we've got an input, we've got our B+ input from the battery, which is being charged, and now these pins on top are our 5-volt output from the power bank.
And these wires for the other side, effectively, or the other one, you're going to put onto those grey pins over there? Or you're going to feed it into this board?
Yeah, I'm going to try and go directly onto the board, but there might not be enough room there, so yeah, I'll figure that out in a moment. Well, yeah, we need to look at that in a sec, actually. Right, I want to go out in this direction because we're going to feed it out of the side of the case. So again, it's not a very neat solution, but it'll do for now. I'm doing this cack-handed. That's terrible. Let me turn this around so I'm not working cack-handed.
And tin those wires.
And I think I'm going to need to tin those wires. I'm going to tin the wires. There we go. One and two. The other thing to think about as well when you're using power bank controllers for jobs like this is these cheap ones won't, but a lot of modern power bank controllers will have auto cutoff. Do you want to do the face cam again? Yeah, a lot of power bank controllers will have an auto cutoff where if the output current drops below, say, 50 milliamps, it will switch off the power bank. just so it's not trickle discharging. But the cheap ones tend to not have that feature in them, which means they're actually better for powering very small devices like LEDs and things. So it wouldn't be an issue for us because we've actually got, you know, a half-amp load. But yeah. Cool. Right, so that's that. We've now got an output, and now I need to solder our input to somewhere on this guy. So I could go onto the backs of the pins. I think I can probably do that. I think that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, I'm going to do that. So these are through holes, so I'm just going to solder onto the back of the through holes. Tinning these boys.
Good.
Yes, I will be hot snotting it into the case, yes. So I'll grab the glue gun in a sec. I'll do. Right. Now we just need to make sure that any joins I make here don't bridge, because we're on the row of pins, and it's very easy to make bridges doing joins like that. 1, 2. Oh, that was a dream. There we go. Cool. So now that's going to go somewhere down there. Oh, that doesn't... yeah, that will fit in there just about. I'm going to need to test fit that in a minute. And actually, I'm going to put this just in the middle because it doesn't need to be in a neat row. So, like, trying to cram it into that exact spot is just placing unnecessary restrictions on myself. That needs to just come down to like there-ish or something. So actually it could go right like there. That would work. Yeah. Cool. Right, I think we can actually start putting this all in. Put that in there. Poke that through the hole. Goes there.
Because you want that to sit through, won't you?
Yeah.
The actual circuit board.
So that needs to line up in such a way that the port on it is exposed. Right, so if I put that there, it's a bit... Yeah, that will work. It's not ideal. If we had all the time in the world, I'd need to make a little hole and poke a switch through it, but I don't have the switch, so there's no point in doing that. I'm going to buy some switches though, because I need some for another project anyway. So yeah, right, time for hot snot. Or we should probably make sure it works, actually.
I was going to say, do you not want the cell the other way around, just rotated that way, so the wires are...
What, like that?
In the... well, yeah, just because it's forcing all the wires down.
Oh, right, yeah.
Instead of them being up and catching.
Yep. Yep. Right, and... Okay, right. Glue gun time.
Yes. Can you glue gun that down, though?
The battery.
No, the board.
Yeah.
Because you want it not touching the plastic.
Yeah, it can touch the glue, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, it won't be able to melt the hot snot in a meaningful way, anyway.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's fine.
Glue gun, glue gun. This is my new weapon, the glue-on gun. I'm too afraid to use it, though. Oh, there it is.
Oh, interesting.
What are you thinking?
Si said about putting the wires out the hole on the back panel. Instead of screwing it up.
I don't think that will work very well because of the shape
of the thread.
Yeah, that will fill that hole entirely. Like, we could cut this away, but that's a nice locking screw that stops the back cover falling off and stuff.
Yeah.
So, like, theoretically, yes, that's just not particularly preferable. So, yeah, why not add a little cooler to the chip? It's just not necessary. It's just, they just work that way, basically. And, like, yeah, it's not particularly good, but it doesn't particularly matter. I'm just looking for something I can unplug down here. Ah. Ooh.
Just looking for something I can unplug. Stream PC turns off.
No. Right. Sparkly hot glue.
Excellent.
Right, I'm going to have a heckin' hero because I haven't had any yet. I'm going to have a crunchy bits, everyone.
Goodness.
I know, right? Oh.
Indeed. Adventurous.
Right. While that warms up, I'm going to plug it in and see if it works.
Good.
The D1 has illuminated.
Illuminate.
Ba-ba. That has actually lit up. There we go. I'm just going to check that the outputs are vaguely what we're expecting them to be as well.
I'm reasonably impressed that's lit up, given the battery was on charge for 2 minutes.
Yeah, it's probably got about 2 minutes of battery charge in it, but as in, like, it will run for 2 minutes. Well, that much being said, you know, there's... what did we decide our load was? Like, we settled on like 300 milliamps or something like that?
Yeah, probably.
So yeah, like there's so little load that we could, you know... Oh yeah, the reason why I wanted to calculate the power consumption in the first place is I wanted to estimate the runtime of it. So yeah, we'll do that in a sec. It's flashing, so it's about to die, but... Yeah, we are getting a solid 5.1 volt output from that. So that's behaving as expected, and the cell at
0.42 volts.
And the cell is at 3.1 volts and drooping. So like the cell is about to fall over because it's basically flat. It's at like 0% battery capacity. However, it is functional. Cool. Oh yeah. For a minute I was like, why are you still blinking? But yeah.
Because the battery's still connected.
Indeed.
The battery, it's soldered to it.
Right. Am I going to tape that down, or am I going to try and sort of hot snot in the corners?
Ah. Ruslan Labrada. Super chats, €10.
Ah.
Thank you very much. Your thing does not advance.
I will hear no comments about the quality of my glue gun.
I will hear no comments about the quality of my equipment.
There we go. That was a mistake. There we go.
Good.
Thank you for the super chat, my dude. Much appreciated. Very good. Right. And I'm going to snot this down now. Oh my God. I hate glue guns so much. They're so awful. But at the same time, they're so good, you know?
Crimes.
Yeah. It is just, yeah. They are just, they are crimes. Please stop. Please stop. Stop! 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 No!
This has been secured in place.
Just scoop it all under there. Just scoop it all under there. There we go. Crimes! Oh Oh my god, I just pushed a lot of glue into that. I didn't think that much would go in. Oh no. Caradog, help.
This is your bed.
Help.
You must lay in it. Smells burning.
It does. Stop!
Are you trying to pull the glue out?
It's sparkly.
There we go.
Flex seal, yeah.
Boy, that's a lot of damage.
See, I know I was pressing on the glue stick, but it was going in way faster than I was expecting. I was expecting some resistance to the glue stick. So yeah.
Oh no.
Right.
Oh.
I think that's probably going to be good for about one connect and disconnect cycle. That wire is going underneath and I wanted it on top. Can that be fixed? I don't think it needs to. It's not what I wanted, but it'll do. Right.
Hello, Turnip Gaming. Thank you for the £5. Still could be worse. It could. There are always ways of making it worse.
Right. See, in an ideal world, if this was a bit more of a permanent solution, I would actually just flood fill that gap, just so the board had nowhere to go to if you pushed it in. But yeah. Right.
Oh no.
Oh no. Oh no. I'm gonna try and close this thing up. That's fine. That's not flush where it needs to be. Okay, we've got to make some modifications to this frame. This frame doesn't need to go in, but right, where are we falling short there? There. I don't know if I can actually do what I need to do. I might need to leave this frame out. I'm just going to see if I can just scrape away at it a little bit where the board is sitting in places it's not supposed to sit in. Crimes.
Also, you'll have problems getting the corner over the battery.
No, that'll go in. Oop. This might work. It's just pretty. It's pretty bad. Oh, you know what though? I think I may have done a heckin' done it. I think that's probably good enough. Actually, I think it's going to go in. Here we go. Right, is that everything? Yeah. That should just. Oh, come on. There we go. Don't be like that. One, two. Right, what's holding me up? Okay, that's sticking down at the top. Oh, it's flexing in weird directions. There we go.
The crimes have been concealed.
Like I bought one. Right, so.
Can you still get a USB in there to charge it?
That's the question, yeah. Not all USB, but. Just going to unravel this cable properly. Right. Boop. And which way around does it go? That way around. Can I fit that in there? Oh, I heckin' can. Ooh. Yeah. It kind of crams in a little bit, so it doesn't like go in with a nice satisfying click, but it's gone in and it's banging 750 milliamps into the battery again. So I'd call that a win. Can I charge and use it at the same time? I think that's a no. I don't think the chip allows you to do that on the board. I'm just going to see what happens if I try. Yeah, and it increases the, it just adds to the load. However, given that we already know that that chip goes up in flames while charging, I'm not going to make it boost and charge at the same time. That seems like a terrible, terrible idea.
Ah, yes.
So
the chip is now at 140 Celsius.
Yeah. So I think on the other one, I think I'm more inclined to use a TP 4056 board. Is it 40? I can never remember. I'm tempted just to use one of the charge boards instead, because these guys don't incinerate themselves while charging a battery. And we know that the sign can run on raw LiPo voltage. So if you wanted peak brightness, this is a better solution. However, I don't know about the longevity of that power bank controller.
Yes, but using that though, where does the power go into the light? Does it go through that board?
Yeah. So on this board, we've got B+ connections on the center two that are soldered, and we've got the output on the outer ones.
That's all. It was purely a case of how would the battery not over discharge.
It's
because it's connected through.
Correct. It has a DWO1 there. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that was fine.
Yeah. And that's a very crowbar level of protection kind of thing. You know, it's an you're essentially relying on what is an emergency cutoff chip that probably doesn't kick in until like 2.5 volts kind of thing.
Yeah.
However, that's fine. You know, again, on DIY projects where, you know, you don't particularly care if you lunch the cell because it was a cheap cell you ripped out of a laptop battery, that's fine. But again, if you were designing any kind of serious product, that would not be fine. You know, you would actually need something. That can do a thing.
Yeah, just higher level cutoff, effectively. High voltage level cutoff.
Yeah, you would need something actually monitoring the voltage, which you could do from your microcontroller. Like for example, the slime trackers. The slime trackers have one of the data pins wired up. The slime trackers use a data pin with a resistor divider on it to monitor the voltage of your cell. And while the firmware is not programmed to switch anything off at any cutoff, it's just monitoring only, you could very easily add in a line of code that just says shut down or halt system. At this voltage, which would put in a actual software cutoff. So yeah.
Good.
All right. Yes. Right. That's that. That's done. How are we doing for time? 2:38. All right. What is the actual time?
6:30.
Okay. Yeah, I've got friends coming over tonight, and I don't know when they're showing up. However, they're not here yet, so. Should we do the other one, or should we just waffle for a bit?
Yeah, or we can call it a day.
Yeah. I might call it. I might call it early because, we've got to dick around doing the other one, and I'm not working very fast today, and we've kind of achieved a goal. We'll go through the chat. We'll
absolutely.
We'll go through the chat and stuff. Anyway. Let's see. Nicola says you could always cut out a square between the vent holes for the wires to hide them at the back. Yeah, this is also true. I think I didn't cut any holes because what I'm going to do is an upcoming project on the channel, which isn't going to be done for a while, is I will be doing another Slime VR build but I'm going to do it. I'm going to do a quote unquote meta build where I actually use one of the reference designs, not a custom design. So it will actually be a walkthrough video that is specifically designed as a how-to, like this is the recommended way to do it. No custom nonsense, no me doing weird things because I have weird parts lying around and I want it to be different. This is the recommended build. And I need to buy a bunch of parts, including just slide switches for those. Yeah. So I'm going to order some slide switches and I'll get some extra ones so I can actually put a nice little power switch on the side. So I'll cut a hole for that and that will solve the problem. So yeah, loving the LiPo mod, very cool. Might consider that for some of your LED boxes, definitely. So again, this is all using weird stuff that I had laying around. So, but it does show you the principle that you could just jump on eBay or AliExpress and buy some cheap power bank control boards and do fundamentally the same thing. Or we have also proven that you could drive it just directly off of the raw cell voltage using just a TP4056 board. And is it 4056? I can never... Yes, 4056. That's what's written on this chip. So yeah, you could just use a TP4056 module and just drive it directly off the LiPo without using a boost controller in the middle. And these guys, this is probably far more reliable, but it means that you do have variable voltage while the sign is running. So theoretically, the sign will get dimmer as the battery discharges. So that also has potential issues because, the sign will get dimmer as the battery runs lower. So that's also not ideal. I guess another solution is to just buy a power bank controller module that's not terrible. You could just buy, a good one that is rated for like 2 amps or something like that. Whereas those were like the cheapest ones on eBay because I was just buying junk to mess around with. So yeah, you could just buy one that's rated for 2 amps and then set it to charge at 1 amp, and then it's not going to sit at 100 degrees while it's charging the cell. Yeah. So yeah, is it still charging? It certainly is. If I just poke the thing, how's that? There you go. So there's our charge voltage. So yeah, and I can't really. That's all we get. We know it's charging only because it's drawing power from the power bank, but you get the idea. Or just glue the power bank to the back of it. Yeah, that's also an option. You could just buy a small cheap power bank, maybe even a flat one, and just strap it to the back of it. And you could even get a USB cable with a 90-degree connector on it. So it's just got a little connector and just sits around the back. That is also a very valid option.
Yeah.
So yeah. But that's an integrated solution. If we'd had a switch and I could be bothered to put the hole in the side, we would have had a completely enclosed solution there. And like, I just hilariously hot snotted that in. But if I was spending a day doing this and taking my time, I've got double-sided tape. We could very carefully and nicely double-sided tape stuff down so it's nice and straight and not just that. So yeah, proof of concept.
Indeed, it's doable. Even with just parts.
Yes, indeed. You can eventually bypass the charging circuit and power independently the LEDs while charging added a P-channel MOSFET, Schottky diode and resistor. I mean, that's just what a power board is doing anyway. But, at that point, you're just now you're just designing your own power. Now you're just designing your own charge board, basically, which you can do. But again, like there are purpose-built chips for this. They've already min-maxed this, so it's just like you could design your own, absolutely. But it kind of, I don't think it makes sense to when there are purpose-designed chips that already exist for this.
Certainly, when obviously, they're designed for minimum cost.
Yeah.
In virtually all circumstances.
Yeah, pretty much. And again, like you could do one that's really good quality and that you've specifically dialed in all the parameters for. And if you were designing an actual product, then that may well be something that's probably something you'd want to do if you are actually doing product design. But if you're dicking around just lipo powering a widget, then yeah, not really worth it. again, it's the same reason. Like when I was talking about making small slime VR trackers, you know, there was a guy in the Discord that was just like, well, if you really want to go small, you could do this, this, and this. I'm like, yeah, but now it's not, you know, it's no longer just a custom PCB. Now it's a custom PCB, and I have to buy all the individual components to put on it, or I have to manually buy some D1 minis and disassemble them to take the ESP module off and stuff. And like, we're starting to massively overcomplicate this.
Yeah.
You know, I designed these because I wanted to do a reduced size tracker that would take a 14500 cell specifically.
Yeah.
But fundamentally, the actual bill of materials for these trackers, there's only 4 major components on this: the battery holder, 2 modules, and a switch. You know, so even though as a minimized design, this has an extremely small bill of materials to it.
Yeah.
Which was the purpose of it. So yeah. Add wireless charging. Yes, that would be that's surprisingly easy to do as well. You can get like Qi charging modules like this, which just wire into a coil. So yeah, that is also a thing that can exist.
You just kind of slap it on the back and just...
Yeah. So yes, and yes, I did indeed get a haircut. And yes, indeed, haircuts are more expensive than they used to be. It's really annoying. My local barber is £12, so you can't just rock up with a tenner in your pocket. And it's just like, well, they don't take cards either, so yeah, it's annoying.
I've specifically written off all of the barbers local to me that don't take card.
Fair
I'm just
enough.
like, no, I'm not gonna use you. It's 2023. Get on board with 1960, please.
Fair enough. You paid 26 quid for a haircut? I mean, like, are you getting like a scissor cut and everything? Because yeah, I just get a grade 8 for this exact reason. And yeah, like I've got a pair of clippers, but the problem is I got the clippers and I could run that over my head, but I can't like trim the back and trim around the ears without making a hash of it. So yeah, nothing special.
Jesus, wow.
You need a new barber, Si. 26 quid, man. Bloody hell.
I think I paid £15.
Yeah.
For my last one.
Yeah, like I'm pretty certain that I could probably get like a scissor cut for 12 quid, as long as I wasn't asking for anything exotic. But yeah. Let's see. Tweebit says, remember last week I was talking about TPM charging when BIOS reset? It would be cool to install Win 11 and remove the battery to see if junk install. Yes, so this was a conversation about if BIOS resets and if removing the BIOS battery on, so rolling back, motherboard, Windows 11 install, FTPM, so flashing the BIOS will corrupt your TPM, but does removing the battery, so doing a soft BIOS reset, kill the TPM as well? Don't know. I might try it at some point. It's not something I'm super interested in, if I'm honest. But yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think it would, is the answer. You're scared to do it on your own? Yeah, you need to have an expendable build so you can actually just put it to the test. Yeah. And like BitLocker and stuff. At some point, I want to sit down and just... I want to sit down and test a lot of weird edge cases on a BitLockered system to see how it reacts.
Yeah.
You know, so like just do a custom computer build running FTPM, BitLockered Windows install, and like try resetting the BIOS. Try taking the CPU out and putting the same CPU in. So like not changing the CPU, just taking it out and putting it back in again. Does that disrupt TPM? Because like changing the CPU absolutely would, but what if you just take it out and put it back in again? You know, and stuff like this. I want to just test a lot of weird edge cases to see what actually changes things and what doesn't. Like, I'm not saying we're going to do that next week or anything, but this is just that's the conversation. Yeah. That's something on my mind, you know. So
yeah. I think it ultimately will also all depend. The situation will all depend on whether you've got an internet connection on the machine or not. Because if you've got an internet connection on the machine, it will just re-download your keys.
Yeah,
so
this would be...
obviously you just need to do it without being connected to the internet, just to see what the actual system cycle is.
Yeah, exactly. I would do it without an internet connection because this is going to assume that you're probably in a fault condition and you probably don't have your keys properly backed up because, again, BitLocker is just a non-issue if you back up your keys properly.
Oh, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. You'll need to specifically make sure the device is disconnected from the internet first, just because the one time I had an issue with FTPM, when Windows basically just went spinner, recovering your key, spinner, login screen kind of thing. And I was just like, okay.
That's pretty slick, yeah.
Because obviously it was I'd signed into the device and it basically just did that. Sorry, no, it asked me to sign in and then it just recovered my keys and dumped me to the desktop.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, that's kind of what I'd expect it to do if you've got everything backed up. But yeah. What are you looking for?
There it goes. I was looking for the charge indicator just to see how much power it put in.
Oh, for the total power delivered.
Yeah, just so I could just guess how much we've put in while we've been waffling. And the answer to that is not a lot, just because we're charging at bugger all current. So yeah, it's been running for 15 minutes, and apparently it's put in 200 milliamp hours, which seems a bit low, but I'm sure if we actually ran the numbers on that, it would add up. Oh yeah, how long would the battery last?
7 hours.
Oh, okay. Did we already figure that out?
Yes.
Okay. Good conversation. All right. All right then. Let's see. Need to find a good local hairdresser and trade your PC know-how hand by hand style. What, like fix his computer in exchange for a haircut or something? Because that's not an even trade.
That puts you down by approximately £60.
Yes. And no, this is switching PS. This is junk. Linear power supplies are expensive.
And large.
Yes.
Certainly if you need any sort of actual current throughput.
Yeah. Good. Yeah, I think I have also enjoyed this conversation in English.
Yes.
So yeah, we're coming up to 3 hours. So we've done about 3 hours. Yeah, we've done it.
Yes, indeed.
All right.
Good.
Yeah. What are we doing next week?
I don't know. LEDs.
What, more LEDs?
I don't know.
Could do. Yeah.
I doubt it.
No. I'll probably do the other one at some point. Like the annoying thing is that I wanted the blue one done more because I use that at home, but I'll do that at some point.
Yes, but that one can be the nice one.
Probably, yeah.
Effectively, by comparison.
No one can see what I'm doing.
No one can see my crimes.
Yes. We'll be back next week with something else.
Yes. Things, stuff, occurrences.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Yeah, that's it. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for being here. Thank you for everything.
You have been an audience.
Yeah.
We have been here.
And now we're leaving.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Yeah.